Today, from historic Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series visits for the 93rd time. The Goody's Body Pain 500, the 8th stop of the 2000 season, will be contested on the series' shortest track, just a half-mile in length, but long on excitement and great stories over the years. NASCAR's heritage has been built on families, and its most famous is Petty. Last week, Lee, the Petty patriarch, passed away. His 16-year career yielded 55 wins. Perhaps the most memorable was a photo finish victory in the first Daytona 500. Son Richard carried the legacy to new heights, becoming the sport's winningest driver with 200 checkers. Grandson Kyle continued the tradition, adding more wins to the Petty family album. Ironically, Lee died just 3 days after his great-grandson Adam made his NASCAR Winston Cup debut, continuing the family name for a 4th generation.
Last Sunday, all eyes focused on the fortunes of another famous NASCAR family. Third-generation driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. followed in his father's footsteps by also claiming his first Winston Cup win in his rookie season and tying NASCAR's all-time record for different winners in the first 7 races. Ironically, that string began with another famous son shining at Daytona. The younger Labonte beat The Rock. Then the youngest Burton's $1 million gamble at Las Vegas beat the rain and the best of the rest. Atlanta saw the senior Earnhardt celebrate a win by the slimmest of margins. Historic Darlington would reward the elder Burton after a 4-year wait. And finally, Rusty Wallace turned 50 in the win category on the high banks of Bristol. 7 faces in 7 races. Will a member of that magnificent 7 repeat today, thus ending the streak? After all, former Martinsville winners Rusty Wallace and Jeff Burton both started in the top 5. Or will there be an 8th new face? And how emotional would it be if that 8th new face were a first-time Winston Cup winner like Kenny Wallace or Mike Skinner? And as we focus on NASCAR's family heritage, what would it mean to a stock car racing king who owns that famous number 43? Or to his prince of a son named Kyle, if today, especially today, that car or that famous Petty name were the first to reach the checkered flag. 4 days ago, we may have lost a legend, but how better than with victory here today to celebrate his legacy.
The modern-day driver has learned the biggest prize comes at the highest price. Hoisting the cup also means lifting a burden, knowing and showing you can win the championship. But with honor and achievement comes the obligation of reworking your goals and winning again and again. Every former champ wants to be the next champ. No matter how many titles you have, the most important one is the one you want. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace are past champions that have shown signs of leaving their recent past behind. They have won again. Things are looking up, and their confidence points toward another championship run. Rusty Wallace makes career start number 500 from the pole, but right now miles and milestones mean nothing. Rusty's a 6-time winner here at Martinsville. Still, he tested at this track and put a bullseye on this race. Why? Because now he wants to hit that target. Rusty Wallace has had a lot of success here. He's also had success at Bristol. His first win this season came at Bristol, where he posted his first career win. His second career win, number 2, came right here. Dale Earnhardt also has 6 wins at Martinsville, but never from further back than 14th. Today, he starts 17th. The last time there were 7 different winners to start the season, 1991. The first guy to win twice that year, Dale Earnhardt at Martinsville, on his way to a 5th Winston Cup championship.
The 3 most recent series champions come to Martinsville looking for the kinds of performances to propel them back to the top. Defending champ Dale Jarrett kicked off the season with a win at Daytona. Since then, he's managed just 3 more top 10 finishes in 6 races and sits 8th in the points. Getting back on track here could be difficult. In 27 races, he's finished in the top 10 only 11 times. Terry Labonte has quietly positioned himself 1 spot behind DJ. Like Jarrett, he's never won here at Martinsville, but he has finished second 3 times. And in 43 starts, he's finished in the top 10 25 times. Among this group, Jeff Gordon may have the best shot at picking up maximum points. He's won here 3 times, including last fall's event with a new crew chief. Gordon enters the race mired in a slump of 12 straight events without a top 5 finish, the longest of his career. And after last week's disappointment at Texas, Gordon couldn't wait to get to Martinsville. Gordon starts 11th today with the same chassis that won the race here last fall. Crew chief Robbie Loomis won last year's spring Martinsville race with John Andretti as his driver. He says he's confident of a good run today. Dale Jarrett starts from the 28th position in this afternoon's race, and DJ's crew chief Todd Parrott says they made a lot of changes to their car early this morning. Terry Labonte rolls off from the 27th starting position. His crew chief Gary Dehart says they're using a different setup today here than what they've ever run before. He says they should know early on if they made the right choice with that setup.
So lots of stories to show you as the afternoon unfolds. It's the second short track race of the year 2000. Much different, though, than the first at Bristol, where the banking was at 36 degrees. Here, a relatively flat 12 degrees of banking in the corners. The NASCAR 2000 season enters its 8th event with Bobby Labonte leading the point standings by 84. Labonte's average finish here is 17. Martin is one of 5 in the top 10 who has won here. Earnhardt and Wallace have 6 wins apiece here. Rudd has won 3 times. So a tight points race and tight quarters here on the racetrack and in the pits.
Bob, I think tight is the word. See the damage to Jeff Gordon's car? We'll see that on a lot of cars today.
Very difficult track to pass on. It's very narrow out there. You almost have to bump into someone to get around them. We will see a lot of tempers flaring.
And pit road at all racetracks is crucial, but I think Martinsville more so than most because it's so tight, so difficult to pass. We see Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace last year dodging that tire on pit road. Today, they'll not have to do that. Under the 12 sign, see those 2 tires laying there? Crewmen running out to get those tires. NASCAR instituted a new rule today, and the rest of the season, they've got to move those tires.
And if they don't move those tires, there's a penalty at NASCAR's discretion that will be imposed. And Ben, we've seen too many times this year with some injuries, injured race cars as well, with tires left on pit road.
A great rule in NASCAR instituted this week. Doggone right. And also they use that tire for an advantage. They would leave that right rear tire laying out there and impede the progress of that car behind them. So NASCAR, you did something really good this week.
So 43 cars and drivers set to go.
Give the command to start the engines again. The Grand Marshal for the Goody's Body Paint 500, Mr. Stuart Smith.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Well, they've been racing here since 1949. The first 500 lap event was held here in 1956. The first race of the new millennium is moments away. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, NASCAR, invite you to sit back and enjoy the best in stock car racing this afternoon, live from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Goody's Body Paint 500 being brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. And by Conseco. Well, the cars begin to roll off now for some warm-up laps, and they will take 5 warm-up laps because it is very, very chilly here. There is also a wind that is blowing, and so it is quite uncomfortable, but there is bright sunshine, unlike yesterday. Let's take a look at our race analysis. The purse is more than $2.2 million. Under great conditions and no cautions, they'll go 160 to 170 laps before needing fuel, and Rusty Wallace holds the race record. Let's take a look now at our Walmart Tire and Lube Express grid. Rusty Wallace is on the pole in his 500th NASCAR Winston Cup start, and Kenny Wallace is alongside the 1997 Goody's pole winner. Second row, Mike Skinner, 4th place in the 1999 Goody's race, and Brett Bodine, who has 9 top 10s in 23 starts here. Jeff Burton starts in 5th position. He won the race in the fall of '97, and Jerry Nadeau his 4th top 10 start of this year. Ricky Rudd starts in 7th position. His most recent win was here in September of 1998. Sterling Marlin alongside. His best short track finishes are 2 second-place finishes here. And as we take a look at the rest of the start, they will take some extra laps, BP, to warm these tires and cars up before we go green, but sure is nice to see that bright sunshine after you guys in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race yesterday, and happy hour for that matter, was rained out.
Pretty miserable afternoon here at Martinsville yesterday afternoon, and the reason for 5 laps is to get the gear lube warmed up, because that's about 100 weight, 150 weight fluid back there, very thick, and they need some laps to get it thinned out just a little bit.
You know, it always amazes me every time we come here to Martinsville how close the qualifying is. You see all the way down here through row 13, they were at 94 miles an hour. Everybody in that same bracket, just about 0.3 of a second separates the field.
Very close field as we're just a few laps away now from the green flag. We'd like to remind you that Napa 250 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race that I referred to a moment ago that was rained out can be seen at 1:30 Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. So be sure you're tuned for that. There were the provisional starters with Elliott Sadler and Robbie Gordon starting back in row number 21, and Gary Bradbury has the final provisional start. We had 4 drivers unable to make the grid. They were Wally Dallenbach, Ed Berrier, Rick Mast, and Dave Marcus. Now we've got some in-car cameras that will complement our coverage, BP.
Mike Bliss has the Viagra onboard camera. He'll start back in the 33rd position. Dale Jarrett, the quality care on board, starts in 28th. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., last week's winner, starts in 22nd, the Budweiser Chevrolet. Mark Martin, the Valvoline Ford, starts back in 21st. Bobby Labonte has a Circuit City onboard camera. He starts in 13th position. Bill Elliott, McDonald's car, will start in 9th spot. Sterling Marlin, the Coors Light Chevrolet, starts in 8th. Ricky Rudd, the Ribestus onboard camera, starts in 7th. And our pole sitter, Rusty Wallace, a Miller Lite Ford. And once again, Rusty on the pole. That shouldn't be a shock, should it, Bob?
Not at all. It's his 28th career pole position and his 7th here. One more lap to green. This track is just a little over a half mile. Front stretch and back stretch equal in length, and the banking is at 12 degrees. Down to Jerry Punch.
Third fastest qualifier, Mike Skinner, has an extra incentive today. See, his sponsor, Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, is going to donate $31 for every lap he completes and $1,031 for every lap he leads to the Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund to help families and communities rebuild. So obviously a very special day. And by the way, last fall, Skinner led 138 laps. That would have been a big paycheck for the Red Cross folks.
Coming down, NASCAR Winston Cup veteran Rusty Wallace on the pole in his 500th career start. He is the 20th driver to reach that level and the 9th among active drivers, and this is his 491st consecutive start. Down the backstretch now, Kenny Wallace alongside, and Mike Wallace won the pole for the Craftsman Truck Series during the weekend, and will be there for the start tomorrow.
It was definitely Wallace Friday afternoon with Mike and Rusty and Kenny taking 3 top positions.
The Goody's Body Paint 500 underway from Martinsville. Is going to lead lap number 1. That's a 4th race in the year 2000 that he has led in the 182nd lap. Side-by-side racing involves Bobby Hamilton, number 4, and Ricky Rudd in the 28. They battle for the 7th spot. And up front, we have a battle for second as Mike Skinner tries to take it away from Kenny Wallace. They're wheel to wheel through the corner and down the backstretch.
Kenny Wallace used that outside line to retain. Look at him slide that way. gracious. It looks like the left front brake just locked up on the 55 car.
Can you believe Kenny Wallace's luck?
He has had more than his share of the bad luck.
And you see the wrinkles in that left front tire. Well, that's just because here at Martinsville, they just don't run a lot of air pressure. And Bill Weber, what did they say on the radio?
Kenny Wallace very upset, telling his crew the throttle struck, the throttle stuck. I had nowhere to go but right into the wall.
Take a look at it once again at the end of the backstretch.
Well, Kenny Wallace had used that outside line to move into second spot. We see him here. He goes in the corner, backs off, and you can see he just goes straight. He's got the brakes locked up. He's sliding all four wheels, and the car continues straight ahead.
Take a look from another angle as it goes into the turn. Wham, right into the wall. You know, thank goodness he was on the outside when that happened. That gave him a little bit less time for that car to turn straighter into the wall.
Well, he recorded his best short track finish of his career here, 4th in September of '94, but he brings out the first caution in the year 2000. Welcome back to the Goody's Body Paint 500. Hovering about 1,000 feet over the racetrack is the Pennzoil Copter Cam, which will provide the aerial shots throughout the afternoon. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Kenny Wallace.
Kenny has climbed from his car, walking back through the infield area. Kenny, you're all right. What happened?
Well, the throttle hung wide open. It's still hung wide open. That's first time in my career that's ever happened to me. Just, you know, big letdown for all the NASCAR fans and everybody. Everything was going right to plan, and just I've never had it happen before. Let off the gas and it wouldn't quit. First I thought it was the brakes, and then when I wrecked, I realized I started it up and it was wide open. So looked underneath the hood there, and it's just stuck wide open. So have to figure out why.
What's that like? What goes through your mind whenever that happens?
Scary. You know, you're wide open, you let off, the corners are sharp, and you're trying to slow up, and the car won't slow up, keeps going straight. So, you know, we hit pretty hard. I mean, I'm fine. Just my pride's hurt. This is one of my best racetracks, and haven't been out of the top 10 here in a long time.
Kenny Wallace out of it today. Best of luck next week, Bob.
Let's take a look at some more replays to show you exactly what happened as Wallace and Skinner were almost side by side.
And there's Kenny Wallace, 55 car going down. He, as he said, slams on the brakes. A couple things can happen. Number one, the rod that works the accelerator on the carburetor, works the side on the carburetor, can get jammed under the air cleaner, or something in the carburetor can break and fall down in that carburetor and hold the throttle wide open.
And Benny, I mentioned the fact that he was fortunate maybe to be on the outside, maybe didn't hit the wall as straight in as he could have, but I'm sure that Mike Skinner is glad that he was on the inside going into that turn. If he'd have been on the outside of Kenny Wallace, he could have been taken with him.
Kenny said that it's been a long time since he finished outside the top 10. He has 5 top 10 finishes in the last 7 races here. Tough break. But how about Rusty, who leads this race as we are under caution and 9 laps to go? His 500th career Winston Cup start and his 491st consecutive. All right, getting ready to go back to racing. Pace car is off and the green is out.
Oh, little contact there. As Rusty goes up the racetrack, Skinner once again some contact off turn 2.
Rough and tumble racing already.
See a little damage there at the headlight area on the right front of Mike Skinner's car. Ooh. And you've got to be really careful about banging up the front end of these cars, because all the air goes in the front of the car and cools the brakes.
That is Brett Bodine running third in the number 11 car. His best start since New Hampshire in September of 1997 when he started third. He began from 4th starting position here this afternoon.
He's another driver that it's good to see up front, because Brett has had a tough year so far as well. It's good to see him qualify up front. He didn't stay up there today.
Take a look at that incident as the green flag came out and Skinner and Wallace headed into one.
Yes, and we see the contact there. We see the damage on the left rear of Rusty's car. And there once again a little contact contact off turn 2.
I'm sure Rusty was a little bit tentative going into that first corner down there till he got the tires warmed up and everything, but Mike Skinner went on in there pretty good, and as a result, the contact.
Now Rusty has lengthened his advantage on second place by just a little over a second, and we have a spin out of turn number 4.
This is car number 60, and he's trying to get back to the start-finish line before Rusty Wallace does. I'm not sure that he did. That's Rich Bickle this week in the 60 car.
Howard T. Chevy under the direction of Bickle, but he brings out the second caution, spinning off corner number 4. Back in a moment. 18 laps completed here at Martinsville. We're under our second caution of the afternoon. This one brought out when Rich Bickle spun coming off of corner number 4.
And I see that he did not beat Rusty Wallace back to the line, because just to the left of there you see the 60 car on the inside.
Rusty becomes the second repeat Bud pole winner in the year 2000. Dale Jarrett has won poles at Daytona and Atlanta, and Rudd, Gordon, Park, and Labonte are also qualified for the 2001 Bud Shootout at Daytona International Speedway next February. All right, let's take a look at some replays here of the most recent incident.
2 cars coming off turn 4, and there we see the 60 car, and no.
He and Johnny Benson were close together. Look out through Dale Jarrett's windshield is right in front of him. And it was hard to tell if there was initial contact or not.
Looks like Bickle may have hit, or at least come very close to hitting that curve down in the 3rd turn.
Well, to add to his problems, he did not beat Rusty back to the line. He made a pit stop on the first lap when the pits were open. Now he has to go to the end of the longest line, so he's has no chance right now of getting that lap back.
Here comes Jeff Burton driving on the outside of Brett Bodine. Bobby Labonte trying to go along as well. Bobby Hamilton, I'm sorry.
Take over 3rd from Brett. Now here's Hamilton trying to take over 4th.
We're seeing more side-by-side racing early than we normally see here at Martinsville. That outside group seems to be working okay.
Schrader and Nadu are side-by-side. Schrader now pulls alongside Brett. Cannot pass on the inside before you cross the line on a restart. But boy, Jeff Burton had the gun loaded for an outside pass.
Oh yeah, he started that pass coming off turn 4. He didn't pull the trigger until he got past the start-finish line.
Continuing to run wheel to wheel, bumping, coming off turn 2. Schrader has 4 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races here. Started 12th, battling for 5th. And Sterling Marlin now is working the outside lane around Ricky Rudd, and more contact. Yesterday and last night has provided a really green racetrack for these drivers.
It certainly has supplied a very even surface right now, because it doesn't look like the inside or outside. Once they run around here and the bottom gets all the rubber on it, it probably will be a better groove than it is right now.
Sterling Marlin making it work up there.
Up to 7.
Now Ricky Craven moves to the outside. The red number 50 is Craven. He's going to try that outside, but now Nadu's going to go back on the inside of Sterling Marlin.
On board with Bill Elliott, running back in 11. behind Elliott. Then comes Ward Burton, Bobby Labonte. Dale Earnhardt has chosen an outside line.
Tries to move around the points leader, Bobby Labonte. And does. Ooh, Kyle got a little loose right behind him there coming off the turn 4. That's that battle between Jeremy Mayfield and Kyle.
There is Kyle Petty. And Jeremy Mayfield is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He's there alongside Kyle in the contest for the 16th spot.
Well, they just have nowhere to go, basically. If Kyle can get the traction out there, he might could move them back. Looked like he did there for a moment, but he's got to stay out there because the inside lane's pretty well used up or taken up.
As we watch this great battle going on between Kyle Petty and Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Hamilton has moved into the 3rd position.
And Rusty Wallace has lengthened his lead over Mike Skinner to 1 1/3 seconds. Now Earnhardt tries for the 13th position, currently occupied by Ward Burton. One of the 7 different winners in 7 races that we've had to start the 2000 season, going for a record 8th here today.
Get up on that outside, you start up there, and you just hope that the driver you're trying to pass, that his spotter tells him, hey, he's looking on the outside, and it gives you the room when you start off the corner.
And Jeremy Mayfield gets that position from Kyle Petty. Interesting comments from Dale Earnhardt in NASCAR Today, saying that he feels that everybody has to work on the same page, from crew chief, driver, everybody on the team, and he feels that everybody is on the same page now, and that has resulted in his great early performance here in the year 2000.
Now Labonte trying to get by Ward Burton. So what happens when you get a car on the outside, as you come off this corner exit, you need to let that car drift up against the outside wall. When there's a car there, you just can't do it. You could do it, but it'd be a crash, and that really, you lose that momentum off the corner.
Takes away the line that you need to really accelerate fully off of the corner. So Ward Burton, we know a lot of times we talk about we got caught up on the outside. Right now he's caught down on the inside as we see this battle between Jerry Nadeau and Ricky Rudd. Who's trying to pass who here? Hard to tell. One on the outside, one on the inside.
I think Rudd's trying to pass Nadeau. This is for the 8th position, and looks like he's, well, I thought he had it pulled off, but not quite.
He thought he had it too, Benny.
And for a taste of the race, here's some Jimmy Dean telemetry on Sterling Marlin's car. Notice how the brake is applied a lot. And now the side-by-side victory over Ricky Craven out of the groove, losing positions. Well, Craven had moved up nicely, but now begins to lose positions rapidly. As Burton and Labonte continue their side-by-side battle.
That could be a brake problem already on Ricky Craven's car. Could be a lost cylinder, run on 7 cylinders, or it could be the fact that he could feel those brakes going down and decide he needs to back off.
Now Burton loses 2 positions to Bobby Labonte and Jeremy Mayfield. There's the leader, Rusty Wallace, now with about a 3/4 second advantage on Mike Skinner. Bobby Hamilton's running 3rd, Jeff Burton 4th, Ken Schrader in the 5th position. Back with more in a moment. Back to Martinsville, where Rusty Wallace continues to lead the Goody's Body Paint 500, but by just a car length or so over Mike Skinner by leading 30 laps today, and Rusty has now led 48. He has led more than 3,000 laps here at Martinsville in a crash coming off corner number 4.
Stay high. Come on, stay high.
Scott Pruitt and Jimmy Spencer has fun here coming off of turn 4.
Caution waves once again. Pruitt's car damaged in the left rear.
He's driving the Cotton Tide, number 32. Spencer into K-Mark number 26.
There's damage on the front end.
And the rear.
Yeah, and the rear.
And Spencer has a lot of damage to his car.
Here's a replay.
Right in the back, we see that Pruitt runs up behind Darrell Waltrip, and Spencer runs in the back of him, spins him around, and then the two cars kind of get hooked together and can't come apart.
Cars going on both sides. Bill Weber?
Rusty Wallace won the pole, but took a pit stall in the middle of pit road. They wanted one that was square to the racetrack instead of one where the track curves around on pit road. Rusty's going to get 4 tires. They're making an air pressure adjustment in all 4 of those tires. They've also changed tire carriers this week, swapping positions. Rear tire carrier to the front and vice versa. He's got 4 tires. We'll have to watch the traffic. We go to Jerry.
Mike Skinner, Jeff Burton pitting nose to tail in turn 2. Skinner, 4 tires, no adjustment. Just had a little bit of bite. Here's Rusty out. Here is Skinner out. Skinner may have beaten the line by virtue of having the very first pit stop. Let's go back to John Turnus.
And a complete bottleneck on pit road as John Andretti, Dale Jarrett, and Tony Stewart were headed down pit road together. That's not going to work because the 10 car, Johnny Benson, was sitting in his pit. So Stewart got by on the outside. DJ and the 43 car, John Andretti, made a little bit of contact on pit road. We're not quite sure if there's a lot of damage or not to either car, but they were both stuck there with the 43 car wedged between the 88 and the 10 car of Johnny Benson. Right now, Dale Jarrett just heard from his crew that they think the car is going to be all right, but there may be a flat tire. They may have cut one of the tires down or maybe knocked the valve stem off. Now I can see some damage on the left front fender of Dale Jarrett's car.
Well, there was quite a bottleneck there on pit road, and Jarrett now comes out in the 29th spot.
Went in 21st position.
Johnny Benson, the Lycos.com Pontiac. And 24, Jeff Gordon is coming back in the pits.
We understand he's being assessed a penalty for that new tire rule that NASCAR has implemented. You cannot leave your tires outside the pit box. Well, they are changing the left front.
I think they'd only changed right sides. And, you know, that's going to get a team in a lot of trouble, I believe, changing just right sides, because I'm not sure that they can get those tires back across there. They probably don't realize just how quickly they need to get those tires back across. They have to be back over next to at the pit wall before the car leaves the pit box.
And Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon and Ken Schrader are all being held to wait for the rest of the field to come around. And now they're released to fall in at the back of the pack. 52 laps completed of the 500 that will make up the Goody's Body Pain 500. Right now it's Mike Skinner leading Rusty Wallace and Jeff Burton. We are back to racing here in Martinsville. We saw Mike Skinner beat Rusty Wallace off pit road. Mike led 8 laps, and then Rusty took over again. So it's Rusty Wallace, Skinner, and Jeff Burton. And here's how Rusty got the lead back from Mike.
Coming off turn 4, he just gets position on Mike Skinner, the 31 car, and he gets on the inside. There's very little Mike Skinner could do. Right now, Skinner has his hands full with a 29 car of Jeff Burton.
Mark Martin and Dave Blaney are side by side. Here comes Dale Earnhardt also.
Mark Martin picked up a lot of spots on that pit stop, only changed outside tires.
Blaney took 2 tires on that pit stop. He now is back in 11th spot. Earnhardt in 12th.
Mark Martin is in 10th place in the car number 6, and he was about 27th or 28th before that pit stop.
And you're talking about Mark Martin changing just 2 tires of right sides, Ned. Jeff Gordon did the same thing. We talked about the new NASCAR rule. Jeff Gordon's team evidently did not understand the rule. Watch this. Here's Jeff Gordon's car. They're changing just the right side. Now, when they finish that pit stop, they will let the car down, and Jeff Gordon leaves. But they wait until he leaves to take the tires. See, the tires, change is done. Watch the right rear, guys. He leaves, and then they roll the tire back through the box. You can't do that. The tires has to be back through the box before he leaves the pits.
And, of course, he had to come back in for a penalty. Let's go to the pits for more with Bill Weber.
Well, Benny, it's all up to whether or not they interpreted the rule right or the rule was explained correctly, but the team, the 2014, believes they were in the right by having those tires in their possession and out of the way. Obviously, that's not how NASCAR interpreted it, and I don't think you'll see it do it again. You'll see the team do it again. They were very upset about the penalty, but that's how the rule was interpreted, and that's how it was enforced. Gordon did come back in and get left side tires.
And he was a victim of that very thing at Bristol when he ran over a right front that had been left outside the pit box.
Also, Warren Burton, the Caterpillar Pontiac, was penalized for exactly the same thing.
And Jerry has more on Burton.
But unfortunately, Benny, when Ward Burton had to come in for a stop-and-go penalty, as you mentioned ago, they had already given the one-to-go signal, so he couldn't get left-side tires without losing, possibly having a chance of being on the tail end as the cars came down with a green flag. So he had to stop-and-go and still only got 2 right-side tires.
And he's mired pretty far back in the field.
34th being shown right now.
And Jeff Gordon, directly in front of him right now, is running in 32nd position. And Kenny Schrader, who had running so well, was up in the top 5 or top 6, is right in front. He's in 31st.
And the Viagra Pontiac there, the 27 blue and white car, is not driven by Jeff Fuller this weekend. He has been replaced by Mike Bliss.
Well, these guys trying desperately to get by the cars in front of them because they know that the leaders will be coming up on them in a hurry because you can get left quickly here at Martinsville. And that's why Ken Schrader and Michael Waltrip and everybody trying to pass the car in front of them. The cars in front of them knows the same thing, so they're trying to keep that position and move forward themselves.
And Kenny Schrader just moved over and said, look, Jeff, I can't get in front of the 27 car, the car we're right along with. Mike Bliss, why don't I let you in front and see if you can get on the inside of it, and maybe that will open things up for me. And who was that car that went by? Michael Waltrip?
Uh-huh. Yep. Waltrip up there on the high side. So we have another spin up in turn 1, and Dave Blaney just tore the right front off his car.
Yeah, the tire is running away from him.
And there goes the tire. It's like the tire came off like it wasn't tight.
Mm-hmm. Very possible.
Right in front of Rusty Wallace. He don't know which way to go. He lets the tire go down, and then he goes on the outside. Rusty was watching that thing all the way once he saw it for the first time.
And the 60 car, Rich Bickle, had stayed in front of Rusty Wallace this entire time. He will get that lap back.
Safety crew quickly to the Dave Blaney car.
Huh.
This is a brand new car from the Bill Davis Racing Shop. They did test that car at Texas and then decided to bring it here.
And fellas, just after the green flag was re-shown, Darrell Waltrip pulled into the pits, and behind the wall, we understand the power steering pump has gone to bed. And DJ's back in the pits, John.
And Dale Jarrett has come in for service, a 4-tire change, nothing to lose. They also need to do a little work on that left front fender, try and beat it out a little bit, because their concern was that when DJ got on the brakes, if he got on the brakes too hard going into the corners, that the nose would dip down and rub the tire. So they beat the fender a little bit to get it away from the tire. Now they're putting the left front on. Got plenty of time. Waiting. Here comes the pace car, and Dale Jarrett down and away will stay on the lead lap.
35 miles an hour is the speed limit on pit road. They have to maintain that all the way around to the exit of turn 2.
Right along with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Budweiser, and we see Blaney on the outside, and the car, the left rear tire flies off.
Apparently all the lugs were not on or something, Benny.
That's my guess, that somehow they did not get the lug nuts tight on the left rear.
Yeah, I thought it was a front tire, but it was indeed the left rear that came off. And they need a wrecker to assist him off the racetrack. Under our 3rd caution to make that 4th caution of the day, 72 laps completed. We'll be back in a moment. Yellow still out here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Dave Blaney crashing down in turn number 1. Terry Labonte on pit road for some work on the right rear.
Yeah, and he was just in a few laps ago, Bob, so he has come back in to do some work there. And it was a good time to do it because he was back near the tail end of the field anyway.
Well, this tire rule has created controversy already, Jerry.
I'm with Tommy Baldwin, crew chief for Ward Burton, who was assessed a stop-and-go penalty on that first caution flag. Tommy, was there a misinterpretation as to what the rule was going to be on the right side tires, or how was it explained to you?
He never said anything about right side tires, about bringing a tire back, but you know, the right front tire carrier did his job. He had a tire in hand bringing it back, but they said it has to be from the inner side of the box. But they never talked about 2 tire stop, only 4 tire stop, and the main thing's been the rear tire. Never talked about the front, so the guy had it in his hand bringing it back, and not a good rule. They didn't make it a very clear rule, and I don't think it's right.
So you guys were assessed a penalty for the front tire, not the rear tire.
And for the front tire, but the tire carrier had it one hand in there, and it's not a good call on NASCAR's part.
All right, Tommy Baldwin not happy down here in the Caterpillar pit. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
And Jerry, talking to some of the guys in the 24 pit, that's exactly how they feel. If you're just going to change 2 right side tires, it'd be more dangerous for your tire carrier to run across in front of the car rather than have him stand there, have the tire in his possession, and have the car leave and then cross. So obviously there'll be some clarification and certainly some discussion on this, but on the 2 tire stops, when you're only changing right sides, guys are going to take forever if they have to get that tire back to the left side of the pit.
It's too bad those guys couldn't not have been in that conversation with Steve Peterson, a NASCAR official, and myself this morning talking about the tire rule, and we talked about specifically right sides, and some guys would not understand the rule. Bringing those tires back across.
And the most recent team to be penalized was Kevin LePage's.
I'm sure that's something we're going to see all day here today. Down on the inside, number 13 is Robbie Gordon. He is 1 lap down.
And also this Duracell Ford is a backup car. Robbie crashed during qualifying, I should say, yesterday. Had to go to a backup car.
Earnhardt and Rudd are wheel to wheel for the 9th spot.
Follows this group of cars. We saw Mark have to steer quickly to get away from the fence, and Earnhardt trying that outside line. What's that all about, Dale?
Well, I guess he passed Rudd out there, so he thought, well, let me see how it'll work when I'm by myself. But he's not by himself any longer because he ran right up on the Jerry Nabry car.
Battle for second here among 3 drivers, Skinner, Hamilton, and Jeff Burton. Rusty has taken off once again and is about 1.25 seconds ahead of this race for the runner-up spot. And Jeremy Mayfield is right there also.
Yeah, Rusty's in a class by himself right now, but these others are pretty evenly matched.
Sterling Marlin down on the inside of Bobby Labonte.
Now, the last time we looked at Sterling, he was passing cars on the outside. Changed his tune a little bit here now, hasn't he? Decided to try to do it on the inside. He must have a pretty good race car.
Now to John Kernan.
behind the wall with Dave Blaney, and you can see a couple of the studs broke off the left rear wheel. He lost that left rear wheel out there. 3 of the studs are still intact, so we don't really know. The crew doesn't know exactly what happened. They're not sure if they might have, you know, if they would have left a few of the lug nuts loose and then it worked its way off and pulled the 2 studs out, or if the 2 studs came out and then pulled everything off. They're not quite sure exactly what happened, but right now, Blaney is behind the wall. They're working to replace that in the left rear and get him back out on the racetrack.
One thing we know for sure, if those 3 lug nuts had been tight, those lug studs would have been broken as well. So obviously did not have lug nuts on those 3 anyway. And we see Earnhardt has gotten by Jerry Nadeau. He's gotten by Bobby Labonte. He's now underneath the lap car of Robbie Gordon. Man, he's going somewhere.
He's up to 7th.
Has his sights set on Marlin now. Here comes Nadeau to the inside of Gordon. He is a lap down.
Right on board with Sterling Marlin, the Coors Chevrolet, as he looks back at Dale Earnhardt. That's something you don't want to see. Is that black hood closing up that rapidly?
Scott Pruitt is also a lap car. In fact, he is 2 laps down, running back in 40th position. Taste of the race, Jimmy Dean telemetry. Down to about, what, 61 miles an hour. And up to almost 120.
And we see when Sterling Marlin gets in the corner right there, you got to see how rapidly he takes that foot off the brake. He just is telling himself every time, take the foot off the brake, put it on the floorboard. Now, Ricky Rudd, the Haviland 28. We have a brake cam, a Rebestos brake cam, and watch when he goes down the corner, hits the brakes, and that rotor. But it's not as bad as it's going to be. Once he gets into stiff competition trying to race with someone for position later on, that rotor will be even redder than it is right now.
He's trying to conserve those brakes as much as he can here at this point of the race. So he'll have some at the end so he can race. But
and some contact between Joe Nemechek and Dale Earnhardt Jr. does not bring out a caution.
Oh, Jeff Gordon goes in the corner, goes very high, almost gets in the side of Nemechek. Some pretty good damage to the left front of Nemechek's car.
Yep. Here's what happened.
Oh, and Nemechek almost, and as a matter of fact, he spun him out and then straightened him up all at the same time.
Yeah, we heard one of the spotters say a spin in turn 2, but he didn't quite go all the way around. And it did very well to mess up the front end setting on Nemechek's car because he got pretty hard into that wheel, it looks like.
And pretty hard with the right front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
Exactly.
Now we see the top 2 rookie candidates for the Rebestos Rookie of the Year honors running together. Matt Kenseth is up there in the DeWalt car, and we're on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Little E has a 5-point lead on Kenseth in that points battle. Compton, Blaney, and Fuller, along with Scott Pruitt, Ed Barrier, and Mike Bliss, are also candidates for that prestigious honor.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. got 10 extra points for that win at Texas last week. So 10 points that Matt Kenseth has not won this year.
About a 1.8-second advantage now for Rusty Wallace as he laps Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip has been behind the wall and is now 20 laps down. Rusty leads Skinner, Hamilton, Burton, and Mayfield. Once again, the caution is out here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. This was because of a spin by the number 60 car driven by Rich Bickle. There he is up in the corner, gets high, and, ooh, almost collects Stacy Compton.
Looks like there might have been, he and Ward Burton were running awfully close there. There might have been a little bit of contact as they came off of that turn.
Down to Bill Weber.
Okay, watch for tires and tire carriers left on the right side of all these cars. 4 tires for Rusty Wallace, no chassis adjustment. Very happy with how his car's running. More rubber on these racetracks. These guys are getting a better grip. Good stuff for Rusty. He's on his way. Jerry.
Air pressure adjustment for Mike Skinner. Car a little tight in the middle of the corner. 4 tires and a minor air pressure adjustment. Rusty Wallace is already gone. Here's Skinner down. Marlin will beat Skinner off pit road. Then comes Skinner and Earnhardt.
Well, Mike had to stop for that Rich Bickle spin. That's one reason why he lost as much track position as he did.
And I watched Jeff Gordon's pit stop that time. Once again, they changed 2 tires, trying to get some track position, trying to get back up front with these guys. But this time, they were sure to take those tires, roll those tires back across to the pit box.
Rusty drove through this Rich Bickle spin. Let's watch.
Here he goes. We sees him. Go to the outside.
And we saw Mike Skinner stop short of broadsiding the spun car. Down to John Kernan.
Jeremy Mayfield took right side tires the first pit stop in order to get track position. Moved all the way up into the top 5. He dropped back down to 6. They came in this time. They took a 4 tire change, made a track bar adjustment because the car was a little loose off. Dale Jarrett took on right side tires only.
Well, more than 100 laps have now been completed of the Goody's Body Pain 500. Ward Burton shown as the leader. Getting ready to go back to green. Here's a Coke pit summary. Bobby Hamilton lost 4 positions on that most recent round of pit stops, and Ricky Rudd lost 7.
Man, Bobby Labonte lost his spot. I'm told that Ricky Rudd had some jack. The jack did not lift the car properly. That's the reason he lost all those spots. And Ward Burton did not pit this time, so he gets track position at Caterpillar Pontiac
And gets 5 bonus points for leading.
And he has led the most laps of any driver in the year 2000 coming into this event. He did not lead at Texas. He did lead at Bristol. And, of course, his race win added to that total, but he had led 302 laps of competition coming into this event.
And Mike Skinner is losing positions by the handful. He's lost a spot to Sterling Marlin, to Dale Earnhardt, and now here's Bobby Hamilton up on the outside trying to take a spot away.
Is it because he came up behind the Scott Pruitt car and got pinched down on the inside, or does he have a problem? I'm not sure, Benny.
I believe it's because he was hung up on the inside as Rusty Wallace is battling for the lead off turn 2.
Goes alongside Ward Burton down the back stretch to his inside, and they bump in turn 3. Ward will surrender the advantage, but not because he wants to.
He didn't go willingly, did he?
But he knows that his best position's down on the inside of the racetrack, so he decided he'd back off and follow Rusty through, which is a smart thing to do. Rusty has the fresher tires. Might have the faster race car, because Rusty has been fast so far. Today, he's just been able to sort of run at his own pace out there.
That time around, Rusty ran a 93.093 mile-an-hour lap. Second fastest car was the third place machine of Sterling Marlin, who ran a 92.9, and Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon run side by side, with Burton getting the spot. Burton is in 8th, Jeff Gordon 9th, and Jerry Nadeau in 10th in the 25.
Skinner is still trying to get by the lap car of Scott Pruitt. He goes up to try to go on the outside. That leaves a door open for Jeff Burton.
Dale Jarrett working his way back up through the field. He's now up to what, Ned?
12. And Bobby Labonte there is trying to pass the 60 car of Rich Bickle, and Bobby's had a tough time down on the inside there getting by Bickle. As John Kernan reported, DJ only took on right side tires on that last pit stop. He was running back 24th, and so that got him picked up a lot of spots.
Napa Field Summary is showing you who's the best among the manufacturers. We have 5 Chevys in the top 10, 4 Fords and 1 Pontiac. Pontiac in second spot now. And where the rookies are running, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running back in the 22nd spot. Dave Blaney's car is behind the wall after that crash up in turn 1.
Sterling Marlin takes over second place from Ward Burton.
Sterling's got a good car.
He does have. He's had some good runs here at Martinsville. He hasn't won, but he's had at least a couple of second place finishes.
You are right. Most recently in April of '92.
Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah. I think I mentioned earlier that his best career short track finish was one of those second place finishes. Finished 13th here a year ago in this race and finished 11th in the fall race.
We're going to get him.
Keith Simmons says, we're going to get him. That's a spotter for Sterling Marlin, also the chief engine builder for Sapco. Felix Abada's racing operation.
Sterling started 8th here this afternoon, his best start since Talladega last October.
Dale Earnhardt, he has moved into the 4th position after qualifying back in 17th.
Rusty Wallace advantage on Sterling Marlin is 1.4 seconds.
It took about 3/100ths of a second that last lap, so he is catching it. He's right.
35.
And he picked up about 12/100ths of a second that time. So he is definitely gaining.
We talked about NASCAR families during our open of the show and mentioned, of course, the death of Lee Petty. The Marlin family apparently ready to carry on some racing tradition because Stedman finished 30th at Nashville yesterday in the Busch race.
Got caught up in a wreck not of his own doing, or he would have done better than that.
Boy, if there was ever a race that had some second, third, and even fourth generation drivers, it was that. We had Jarretts and Labonis and Marlins.
And Hendricks.
Yeah.
Well, what about that run by Ricky Hendricks?
That was good.
He was in 5th place.
All right, Jeremy Mayfield now taking over the 5th position from Bobby Hamilton.
And Mike Skinner still has not passed Scott Pruitt. Scott Pruitt doesn't have a bad race car here today. He's able to run right up with these lead cars. He is a lap down, but he's a couple laps down, as a matter of fact.
This is the battle for 3rd. Earnhardt behind Ward Burton.
Pretty good with those tires. He has a good number of laps on his tires, more than those who stopped, but he's hanging right in there. But you can see that he's not quite as good as those that have the newer tires.
K-Mark Ford and Jimmy Spencer in front of these two cars.
He is 2 laps down to the field, running 38th. Pennzoil Copter Cam has this overhead shot of both Ward and Earnhardt going to the inside of Jimmy.
Dave Blaney has his car repaired and headed back out onto the track. There he is down on 5th.
58 laps down to repair that left wheel. I thought Earnhardt was going to get a good run off the corner there, but didn't get a good enough one to make a challenge. Now he does.
Well, he drove her deep into that corner.
All kinds of traffic behind those two as Earnhardt does indeed go into the 3rd position. And we've got race cars all around this half mile.
Sure do. Just very few spots with no race cars.
And the interval now between 1st and 2nd is just a little more than half a second as Rusty comes up to lap again the number 21 car of Elliott Sadler. He now is 2 laps down in 37th position. Rusty and the others up front are approaching some slower traffic. It's going to get interesting. We'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back to ESPN's live coverage of the Goody's Body Paint 500 here at Martinsville. There's more racing from here tomorrow. The postponed NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Napa 250 can be seen on ESPN tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. Benny Parsons will be right back here tomorrow, along with the other members of the team, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on pit road.
They're working on the left side because the battery has apparently gone dead on Dale Jr.'s car. So now somebody waiting for the right wrench to get the casing off. They need a ratchet to get it off. But Dale Jr., just a tough break, losing battery power.
Clear low, clear low.
Ben out of turn 4 brings out another caution. Everybody keeps going, though.
And about the time that Earnhardt Jr. goes in for a battery change, his closest competitor in the rookie point, the bestest rookie points, Matt Kenseth, was involved in the spin that just happened.
Joe Nemechek has more damage to the Oakwood Homes car.
Obviously, he was also involved.
He heads down pit road along with Rusty and Sterling Marlin, and I guess all the leaders are coming in.
It's lap 143, and here they come. Mayfield hits his pit stall. Let's go to John Kernan.
Jeremy Mayfield's car just a tick loose, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment, is what we anticipate, as they'll come over and do it with a catch can van. 4 tires to Bill Weber.
It's just 4 tires for Rusty Wallace. No chassis adjustment, no air pressure change. His car is that good. Left front is on, and Rusty's on his way.
Mike Skinner, 4 tires. They raise the track bar 1 round. The car a little bit loose, and the car is now going by Skinner's low Chevrolet. Still sitting at the very end of pit road, getting the left side tires on, a little bit with the left front, and now Skinner is down and away.
Again, Mike loses quite a bit of track position. Let's take a look at, again, what happened off of corner number 4. There's the spin. Kenseth
Goes around, and I guess that the Nemechek car is going to run into the left rear. We see the contact right there in the smoke between the 33 and the 17. We really couldn't see it. All we could see was the 17 car jump up. Now we'll see it here, probably able to see it a little bit better. As Nemechek right there just runs. We still can't see it. It's so smoky. There he runs in the back of the 17.
Now from Sterling Marlin's viewpoint.
This happened right in front of the leaders.
And we hear the brakes squeal. And just like
All right, clear low, clear low.
Just like you do on your car. Looks like Kenny Irwin also involved in that.
Well, watch Rusty. He chooses the right path down on the low side.
Sure did.
Yeah, you're right. Kenny was involved in that.
I think he ran the back of 41 of, and we see must have broken the radiator, because I think he ran the back of the 41 car of Gary Bradbury.
There's the damage sustained by the DeWalt Chevy, driven by Matt Kenseth. And so, under caution once again, Bobby Labonte now has the lead over Wallace, Marlin, Martin, and Elliott.
Today.
That tells a story as we're back to racing after the most recent caution. The most recent accident involving the number 17 DeWalt Ford, driven by Matt Kenseth.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. with that new battery shoots out in front of the leader, Bobby Labonte, trying to get one of his laps back. He's 3 down.
Kyle Petty got off to an awfully slow start. I don't know what the problem was. When he took the green flag, he was running very, very slow. He seems to have gotten back up to speed a little bit now.
Now Rusty.
Sorry, Bob. Rusty Wallace. We had the same thought. Rusty Wallace goes for the lead and takes it.
So Bobby Labonte leads 6 laps. Make that 7 laps. Dale Earnhardt back in the 7th spot. Got held up a bit on pit road.
Right on board with Ricky Rudd. This is the Rebestis onboard cameras. He looks back at Dale Earnhardt and Ward Burton. Dale Earnhardt, we see him. There he is. And he starts to leave. All these cars going by. And there's a tire. But the 77 car of Robert Presley hadn't left the pit, so the rule doesn't take effect until the car leaves the pit.
Darrell Waltrip has been behind the wall. He's back in competition, and we, I believe, have failed to mention that Kenny Wallace, who brought out our first caution, is also back in the race, but 140 laps down. And now only the 42 of Kenny Irwin is behind the wall. Everybody else is running.
Ward Burton trying to get by Earnhardt. I think that's Ward trying to pass Dale, isn't it?
Here, either Dale trying to pass him. Dale trying to move up on the outside, whichever it was, Ward Burton got the position.
We'd be correct, however, we said that, but nevertheless.
Whoa, Ward coming up on Rudd.
My guess is that Ricky Rudd probably changed 2 tires to get up, to get some track position. He and Bill Elliott, and maybe even Martin Martin.
Bobby Labonte, I think, only changed 2 tires and got him to lead. And several of those cars did just change 2 tires. Bill Weber?
Well, you know, there was no happy hour here on Saturday because of the rain, and then it continued to rain all afternoon, so that washed all the rubber off the track. As we talked about earlier, a lot of guys were fighting to find some grip on this racetrack in the early laps. Well, now that all the rubber has gotten put down in the groove,
Spin on turn 4. Kyle Petty is just spun. Go ahead, Bill.
And now the caution's going to come out. We'll update John Earnhardt later, but he says the track's coming to him.
Watch 44 here. Watch 44.
And Kyle could not get straightened around and across the line before the leader did, so Petty will go a lap down.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. just gets passed by Rusty Wallace, and then the caution comes out. So he does not get one of his laps back.
And he is 3 laps down, or maybe 4 laps down, I guess. He lost that time in the pits, changed the battery.
Now Rusty trying to figure out, do I make a pit stop? No, I think I'll stay on the racetrack. After all, we just pitted. And most all the other leaders will stay out there. It's just so hard to give up this track position and try to fight your way back through it.
What happened to Kyle? Let's see if we can find out.
He's coming off the turn. Could have got a little bit of a tap there behind him, maybe. And just, it doesn't take much. You're almost out of control when you come off of that turn anyway.
So Kyle Petty goes a lap down, while Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, and Bill Elliott are now the top 5. ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Goody's Body Pain 500 at Martinsville being brought to you by Winter Circle, makers of collectible toys and games for NASCAR fans of all ages. Join us in a circle, Winter Circle. By GM Goodwrench Service. Plus, for a dealer near you, visit gmgoodwrench.com. And by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Despite the bitterly cold weather here at Martinsville today, stands nearly full, and the fans enjoying this race. The 17 car of Matt Kenseth apparently has lost its transponder, which is used, of course, to score the car. He's back on pit road.
The official, that's what the official's holding in his left hand, and he's telling the other NASCAR officials that, hey, I've got the 17th transponder. But it's located back in the right rear section.
It's like he's observing a penalty.
He's a penalty of some type. But the transponder is located right under the D of DeWalt where he had all that contact. And we see the 41 car of Gary Bradbury being held on the racetrack to observe some penalty. I'm not sure exactly what.
Is still being held as the field is going to come by, or at least a couple cars come out of the pits. Now the field will go by.
Well, why did they hold it? That is strange. They held it at the end of pit road.
Maybe they were supposed to hold him longer in the pits than they did.
Well, Sunday night baseball heads to Tampa Bay for a big league hitting matchup. Cleveland's Roberto Alomar, Manny Ramirez, and others against the new high-powered offense in Tampa Bay, led by Greg Vaughn, Benny Castilla, and others. The worldwide leader in sports has Sunday night baseball tonight.
I guess the last time by that Kenseth did not heed that stop sign. See the fellow holding the the stop sign, I guess Kenseth did not stop. And so NASCAR brought him back in and penalized him a lap 4, not paying attention to that paddle.
We're observing our 7th caution of the afternoon. 163 of 500 laps complete. Welcome back to Martinsville, where we're again about ready to go back to green. Like to remind you that Reese Davis, tonight at 7 o'clock, will have the report on RPM tonight. A recap of this race, the Formula One Grand Prix of San Marino. Now, the Kart FedEx Championship Series event at Nazareth has been snowed out, but we'll get a report there anyway. Down to the field. Terry Labonte lined up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a lap down in 28th.
And Ned and I were talking during the break. We don't know exactly how Terry Labonte lost that lap.
Unless he lost it in the pits. I didn't see him get back on the racetrack. The race car got a little bit pushy there for a moment and slid up the track. He's okay now.
Second place. Bobby Labonte and Sterling Marlin.
So it looks like he gets him a run. He does. All 4. Gets on the inside of Labonte. Takes that position away.
Clear all around. Nice rhythm now. Nice rhythm.
And now Mark Martin closes in on Bobby Labonte. Mark Martin began this race, as we see in a Super 8 report, started 21st, then moved to 11th, dropped back to 13th, and now finds himself in 4th, going for 3rd. The 20 car of Tony Stewart won the pole last year, and this is the very same car that this year took a provisional to get into the field. Stewart right now is running in the 14th position.
So he moved up rather nicely through either good running on the track or a combination of that and some good pit strategy.
Stewart won the pole and finished 20th here a year ago. Whoa, right ahead of Stewart, we have a big mess as Scott Pruitt and who else?
Jeff Burton.
And Jerry Nadeau.
Those guys a lap down.
Scott Pruitt's tied. Ford remains at the top of the track.
And Scott Pruitt told me this morning this is his first short track ever in his life.
Yep.
Well,
today.
He's seeing what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. He's getting real experience out there today.
He's done a good job. He's been in a few scrapes here. But
he, of course, did not qualify for the Bristol race, the first short track race of the 2000 Winston Cup season, and so this is indeed his first in Winston Cup, or in any form of racing for that matter.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened here.
Well, he gets hit from behind by Mike Skinner, basically right in front of Jeff Burton and Jerry Nadeau.
Yeah, they had nowhere to go. Okay, we'll watch it again here.
Kyle Petty's also lucky to get through this.
Oh, man. You fit 4 cars there where 2 ought to go. I don't know how they did that.
But boy, look at the track position that cost Jerry Nadeau and Jeff Burton.
Yep.
Now they're coming into the pits, and I don't blame them, because they were at the back of the pack anyway. After having to back up here while all those other cars were going forward.
On the onboard camera of Dale Jarrett. He gets through okay. Well, there's Kevin LePage, who has taken his FamilyClick.com car behind the wall.
He was just a couple of laps down, back in about 34th position, but I think this is also a backup car, because yesterday He had a right front tire go flat, hit the wall, and I'm pretty sure they had to go to a backup car with his team.
Well, the most recent caution was caused by this incident up in turn number 4 involving 3 cars. Back with more from Martinsville after this. Less than a lap completed under green as Rusty Wallace leads Sterling Marlin down for the completion of lap number 181.
And Rich Bickle at Power Team Chevrolet on the bottom of the racetrack. He's a lapper, 1 lap down. He's trying to get it back. Can't quite do it. He squeezes in between Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace.
He's already gotten 1 lap back today. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to handle the rest of this race.
Well, the 99 car was penalized. Jerry, what was that all about?
Well, Frank Stoddard was just grabbing me a moment ago. They're trying at the time to decide why they were held a lap. They came on pit road, put a rubber in the rear, and were leaving, and they were told by NASCAR they did not beat the pace car back onto the racetrack. They did not beat the paddle man. They brought them back in, and NASCAR held them a lap. Now, they are protesting pretty significantly, they and the driver in the race car, but right now, it has done no good. They're a lap down.
In 33rd position, and Kyle Petty slams against the wall.
And pretty hard contact with that outside retaining wall, too.
Into the back straightaway. Caution is out.
And once again, we are slowed by caution. The 9th one, and we're not even close to halfway.
Well, Bob, I made the statement during our last break that cautions breed cautions, and boy, we've seen it here today. The cars are, once they're bunched up, they run so close together.
Bickle is going to get his lap back, it would appear.
Well, he was in front of him that time around. Don't know when Rusty got the caution, but if that was the first time Rusty got the caution, he indeed did get his lap back.
The badly damaged Hot Wheels Pontiac of Kyle Petty limps to pit road after this.
And right there, looks like that the 27 just gets in the right rear and just kind of turns him somehow.
Turns him the wrong way, towards the wall.
Petty goes back onto the racetrack.
Looks like the right front fender's laying up against the tire. I guess he's trying to save all the laps he can. No, he's going back behind the wall, I guess, is where he's going.
Well, Rusty Wallace continues to lead this thing, but we haven't run very many laps under green recently. At Martinsville, Virginia, I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Most recent caution, this one on the backstretch.
It's really difficult to tell. There's Kyle Petty coming off the corner, and right there, some contact with the 27 car, which turns the Hot Wheels Pontiac right directly in the wall.
And almost collected Jimmy Spencer, too.
And Mike Bliss, a driver of the 27 car, has been held on pit road by the NASCAR officials. You see Barry Dodson, the crew chief, arguing.
Jerry, what's the deal?
Well, tempers flaring on pit road, but also on the racetrack. A moment ago, one driver said, if he messes with me again, I'm going to plant him in the hot dog stand. Another driver's initial transmission was garbled, but the last words were something about, and the horse he rode in on. Guys, don't you love short tracks?
Indeed. Now, Rich Bickle did not get his lap back. That's why he is positioned to the inside of Rusty Wallace.
He's trying right now to get back.
Again.
I don't think he's going to see it.
The top 5 are Rusty, Bobby Labonte, boy, make that Sterling Marlin, then Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, and Bill Elliott's running 5th.
Second place car. Now he has Rich Bickle between himself and Rusty Wallace. Tell you what, Rich Bickle gets around this racetrack very well.
Had his best finish here a few years ago.
Already these cars taking up about half of this racetrack.
Shots from the Pennzoil Copter Cam. That 4th place finish by Rich Bickle, his career best, was here in September of '98. laps to the halfway point. There is Bill Elliott, along with the 97 of Chad Little, who is a lap down in 26th. But Ward Burton, right behind Bill, is in 6th position. Then comes Earnhardt, Mayfield, Rudd, and Skinner. These guys running 91.4 and 91.7, while the leader, Wallace, is turning laps in excess of 193.
93.
I'm sorry, 93.
Well, they'd be getting it on here at Martinsville.
Maybe 193 next weekend in Talladega, but...
McDonald's, the official drive-through of NASCAR.
Comes Ward.
Have a look. Quite pull it off that time. Ward's a little faster than Bill is at this time, but Ward can't make the pass. And Earnhardt is right there on both of them, so he's trying to size them up and say, okay, what I want to do. He'll probably jump up on their outside there in a moment.
Oh, he wants them to think that, Ned. I think he wants them to think he's going to the outside and hope they'll move up off the bottom. That's probably not going to work too well.
This is the car that Elliott raced earlier this year at Las Vegas and then at Darlington. Finishing 39th and 8th, respectively. And again, Ward gets a good run, but cannot make the pass.
No! Oh, it got down the curbing a little bit there, didn't it? But he made it stick. Got a nose up alongside of him this time. He'll get beside of him going into turn 3 here.
I think Bill Elliott knew if once Ward Burton got on the inside of him, that meant Earnhardt also is going to go in once you get on the inside of him. So,
all right. Napa Field Summary showing you the point standings right now for those of you who are just joining our telecast. We're 201 laps in, and Rusty Wallace has been the dominant car so far, leading 180 of the first 200 now 2 laps.
Here's Jeremy Mayfield, car number 12, moving around Bill Elliott. Once that first one got by, Bill didn't have much chance. They just sort of all went by. Ricky Rudd is the next car back. He's back about, well, he was back about 5 car lengths, but he's closed it up now to about 1.5.
Ricky Rudd's first pole in his career was here at Martinsville in April of '81, and his most recent win was here in September of '98.
Well, check out the Rebestos onboard camera and see once again how much brake he's using, and it looks like he's still being very conservative with these brakes. After all, there's still 300 laps to go, almost 300.
You see that red around there? It's heating up a little bit there, but not as bad as we will see it.
Rudd has improved his points position more than any other driver compared with last year at this time. He is currently 7th in points. Last year at this time, he was 35th. So an advancement of 28 positions in the point standings for Ricky.
Those 3 cars that just passed Bill Elliott, Earnhardt, Mayfield, and Ward Burton, have driven away from him. As a matter of fact, Ward Burton has driven away from Earnhardt.
And here's Rusty completing lap 207. We'll show you the field. Show you where your favorite driver is running in relationship to the leader. We'll also get an indication of just how quick a lap is here. Bliss a little sideways coming off the corner. And there's Rusty. And a 2-second advantage over Sterling Marlin. Bobby Labonte about 2.8 seconds back. Followed by Mark Martin and Ward Burton. The rest of the top 10, Earnhardt, Mayfield, Elliott, Rudd, and Skinner. Here at Martinsville, our overhead shot from the Pennzoil copter cam will give you an idea of why this track is often referred to as paper clip shaped. Very long straightaways and tight corners.
Very long straightaways, very short corners.
Rusty Wallace has gotten himself in some traffic here.
Hasn't been in a lot of traffic today because every time he starts lapping the field, a caution comes out. So he's been able to run a clear racetrack most of the time, and he's not having any trouble passing these cars.
That's Robbie Gordon and Gary Bradbury right behind Rusty, a couple of cars that he just lapped.
And he's been able to put them between himself and second place Sterling Marlin. In fact, they're about, what, 4 or 5 cars between first and second now.
As a matter of fact, Rich Bickle, Sterling Marlin still hasn't been able to get by Rich Bickle. We see Earnhardt got on the inside of Jimmy Spencer. Earnhardt currently in 6th position.
Spencer is in 33rd. He had a tough day.
About 28 laps now from halfway. Mike Skinner running in 9th spot, but does he have a potential problem, Jerry?
Unfortunately, he probably does, Bob. He has radioed that he is losing voltage, and they have a battery here out. You see the battery in the pits, and they are getting ready to change the battery on the next pit stop. The voltage is dropping in the 31 car. It has not as yet begun to sputter and miss, but it can't be far away. They would like to see a caution flag so they can maybe get the battery changing. Yes, they believe they can change the battery under a yellow flag stop and not lose the laps. They hope.
Skinner started his Winston Cup career here in Martinsville, this race in '86. He has finished 16th or worse in 5 of the last 7 races, but 4th and 6th in the last 2, and got off to a real good start, leading 7 laps early on after starting up near the front. Now finds himself back in 9th position with the potential battery problem.
And Ricky Rudd on the inside of Jeremy Mayfield. That's for 7th position. Ooh, Jeremy might have brushed the wall off too that time. As I see him go by, it doesn't look like he's pancaked the right side of the car, and I can still see the yellow on the Goodyear, so maybe not.
Now Skinner wants to get that spot from Jeremy. And he will do so. So John Kernan, Jeremy's lost a couple of positions here in the last few laps.
Bob, Jeremy just radioed in and told his crew chief Peter Suspenzo the car is loose. We're going to have to make a track bar adjustment and also a wedge adjustment to tighten this thing up. But other than that, they've had a pretty good day. But right now, the car is a handful.
Jeremy Mayfield, as we look at our Super 8 zero scoring, we see he started 24th, worked his way up to 5th, but now he's starting to go back the wrong way. Back to 9th place in just the last 46 laps.
There's Tony Stewart down to his inside. Jeremy finished 4th at Bristol and 6th at Texas in the last 2 races, and that has moved him from 16th in the point standings into the top 10.
And he just now moved into the top 10 of this race.
Yep.
I guess he was in 10th.
Yeah.
A car that's really been moving is Ricky Craven. He has moved up to the 13th position now. He came up about 6 or 7 laps ago. He was catching Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon, came up and just blew them off and went right on. He is started in 14th and dropped way back in the field, and now is moving back up towards the front. His car's working good.
This is only his second start of 2000. He ran Las Vegas, starting 29th and finishing in 40th spot. Jeff Gordon is running in 14th, and again, Terry Labonte is a lap down in 27th. Jeff Gordon has not led yet today. Started in 11th spot, has been as high as second and as low as 35th, right now 14th.
He's passed a lot of race cars. He's been back at the back. You know, he had that penalty for leaving the tires out on one of the stops early in the race. He went to the back of the field, so he has passed a lot of race cars. Dale Earnhardt trying to pass a race car now.
That moves Dale Earnhardt into 5th spot, past Ward Burton.
And Ricky Rudd, we see him back there. Rudd has a good race car. That technical car is good today because we've seen that brake rotor, and the fact that it isn't cherry red all the way down the straightaway tells me he's really not pushing his car that hard. He gets on the inside of Ward Burton and takes over the 6th spot. Well, he's going to. Trust me.
Give him time, he will.
Like I said, it wasn't going to rain yesterday. Trust me. Tell you what, if I say it's not going to rain, you better build an ark, folks.
Marty Reed, Benny Parsons, Dave Burns, and Amy East will be with you at 1:30. I'm sorry, Jerry Punch. Marty went on vacation, huh?
Oh, he did it?
Yeah, so Jerry Punch will be with you tomorrow. He had scheduled a cruise or something and had plans to leave today, so he did. Jerry Punch and BP will be with you tomorrow at 1:30 for the Napa 250 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here at Martinsville. Rained out yesterday. There is Mark Martin, who is running in the 4th spot. Martin once again carrying the Max Life colors on that car. Valvoline's long life oil. And Dale Earnhardt now begins to close in on Martin. And once again, Rusty Wallace has his hands full with a bunch of slower cars.
And some of them running side by side. That's going to be a tough situation. There's the second place car of Sterling Marlin. He should be able to move up on Rusty some as Rusty fights that traffic. Of course, Marlin is back about 3 1/4 seconds.
And once again, just to tell you that Rich Bickle has pulled away from Sterling Marlin. He was not able to keep up with Rusty Wallace, but he has pulled away from Sterling Marlin.
3rd and 4th positions, Bobby Labonte looking back on Mark Martin.
23 cars on the lead lap.
Mark Martin has the best average short track finish in the 1990s overall. 3.1. Trying to get to the inside of Labonte. Ooh, put a little dent in the car there. Well, as Rusty works his way through traffic, he is now 2.5 seconds ahead of Sterling Marlin, going to the outside of Robert Presley and putting him down a lap for the first time. Robert is running in 23rd position. Just 8 laps away from the halfway point of the Goody's Body Paint 500. ESPN's NASCAR Winston Cup coverage this week is at the shortest and slowest track. Next week, we go to the longest and the fastest at Talladega. But full qualifying coverage at 4 o'clock Friday on ESPN2. The Touchstone Energy NASCAR Busch Series race Saturday at 3:30. And you can catch our happy hour coverage next Saturday evening at 6 o'clock. Now on Sunday, it'll begin with RPM today at 11 o'clock. Bill Weber has the NASCAR Today program at 11:30. Make note of that. That's about an hour and a half ahead of the actual start of the race. And you can see coverage of the Die Hard 500 on ABC at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Ray Evernham will join us in the booth. And then after that, The Saturday IROC 24 race number 2 can be seen at 5 o'clock again on ABC. So we look forward to going to Talladega this coming week for high-banked, high-speed racing. Right now, it's Rusty Wallace who is really dominating this event here this afternoon. We are coming up on 3 laps past the halfway point, and Rusty so far today has led 232 of the laps. We've had 4 leaders.
Oh, Rusty Wallace. Looks like a right front tire's gone flat on Rusty Wallace's spot.
He wants to get down so he can get in the pits. Now he finally does do that. No caution. No reason for one.
What happens is the brakes are so good on these race cars anymore, and they don't realize how much they're using, and it melts the inside of the tire. Bill Weber, he's coming to you.
And this will be a painful limp down pit road at 35 miles an hour. Smoke coming from the right front tire. Robin Pemberton coaching him into his spot. As Bob was saying, Rusty has dominated this race in a car he's only used twice before. They're going to have trouble getting the jack under the car. Now they lift the car and slide the jack underneath. Bill Wilburn pulls the right front tire off. They put on the right side tires. They're going to go ahead and do more. Rusty will pray that this race stays clean, losing valuable laps on the track. Left side's going on. This car, 2 starts, has never had a top 10 finish. Rusty's going to have to battle back to recapture the 4-minute showcase so far today.
And Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd have gone by Sterling Marlin, and Earnhardt going for the lead in 3.
And Rudd coming up to 2nd position now as he gets to the outside of Labonte.
And Tony Stewart has also joined us in the Home Depot car. Wow, things got exciting there all of a sudden, Bob.
First 5 cars now running nose to tail after Rusty had the problem. And let's see, where did Rusty drop back to? 31st position? Wow. A tough break for...
couple laps down, Bob.
Yeah.
That's like...
Boy, a tough break for Rusty, who, just as we said, was dominating. Here's what happened to him.
He goes in the corner, and all of a sudden that right front goes flat, and the car goes straight. That's what happened to the 16 of Kevin LePage yesterday. LePage hit the wall, and Rusty is fortunate because he is able to stop the car before he gets to the wall.
Now let's listen.
There you heard him. He scooted up the track. I tell you, he was fortunate not to be able to he was fortunate to keep it off the wall and not hit the wall.
So Dale Earnhardt now has gone to the lead. He's leading his 4th race of the year 2000.
And all of a sudden, Sterling Marlin, who was so good earlier, has fallen back to the 6th position.
And boy, are they in some heavy traffic. Look at all of that beating and banging coming off the turn.
Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart exchanged some paint. Stewart's got a huge donut on the right side of that Home Depot Pontiac.
Now, we had a report that Mike Skinner, maybe the battery might be going down and that it's not hitting on all 8 cylinders, doesn't have all the power that it needs. Well, you know, if he's been out there a while on these tires and the track is getting a little bit slicker, that might not hurt him as bad as it would have if he had new tires on it.
And we see some pretty serious damage to the right side of the Home Depot Pontiac.
Number 11 car of Brett Bodine that started 4th has gone a lap down. He's in 23rd position.
You know, the handle went away on Brett's car.
Yep. There's Marlin and Rusty Wallace. Rusty trying to move up through the field. Get some of those laps. Get at least one of his 2 laps down. He's now in 30th spot, 2 laps down.
And he can pass the leaders. You know, then a caution come out.
Yep.
And that bunches him up. Well, you know, there he goes by Mike Skinner with those new tires on. He needs to have a fast race car all day anyway. He could possibly get back those laps if the circumstances were right.
Bill, what's that tire look like? Oh, my.
Well, it's not the one you want to pull out of your trunk, Bob, if you've already got a problem. But what they're saying here, And Benny, you can walk us through this a little bit more, but they're saying that the belt inside the bead here just gave way, and that's what snapped, and that's what basically took the tire away. So that can happen through a variety of causes. The heat, basically wear and tear. Sometimes it just happens, but obviously for Rusty, very bad timing.
I think heat is the biggest enemy there, Bill. The brakes, are, as I said, are so good, they get that tire so hot that sometimes it just melts. And look how much faster he is than the leader, Dale Earnhardt, with those 4 fresh tires. And that was really good strategy on the team's part to go ahead and change 4 while he was in there rather than just change the affected right side tires.
He's about 3 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt as he passes Bobby Labonte, who's running in 3rd place. And there's Earnhardt in traffic, so Rusty still has some time to make up before he can get one of those laps back.
And Earnhardt finally caught, and we see Tony Stewart on the inside of his teammate, Bobby Labonte. I was going to say Earnhardt finally caught Rich Bickle in the 60 Power Team car.
Jerry, what about Marlin, who's now back to 6th?
Well, Bob, about the same time Rusty had his problem with that cut tire or melted bead, Sterling Marlin began to yell that the car had just gotten suddenly loose. Ned Berry had definitely picked up a moment ago. The track is getting slicker and slicker, which is why you're seeing Mike Skinner's car run better, even though he's down on power. But Sterling Marlin's car is so loose, Scott Eggleston, the crew chief, says, just hang in there. If we can get a caution flag, we'll take a rubber out of the rear. That'll probably fix it. But right now, Marlin just trying to hang on to a top 6 position.
And Earnhardt moving through traffic now. He is putting Rich Bickle a lap down in 21st. Now comes up on Stacy Compton, who's running 20th. And watching very closely is Rookie Rudd and Rusty Wallace. Wallace is that close to getting one of the 2 laps back.
Boy, he made that 3 seconds he was behind, I mentioned a moment ago, up in a hurry.
I remember back about 10 years ago when Harry Gant was going for 4 in a row or 3 in a row or something here, and he was involved in the crash, something similar to what Rusty went through, and I said, well, unfortunately, Harry won't win his whatever today, and guess what?
I remember that very well, BP.
I tell you, Rusty Wallace still believes he can win this race. I'll guarantee you that he thinks he can still win this race. But now he's having to drive that thing harder than he's driven it all day. Could the same thing happen again? Let's be careful about that.
Here he comes up on Earnhardt, the leader. That's Dale just ahead. Mike Bliss to the right. Look at Rusty. He's going to give it a whirl here.
On the inside of Rusty, he's got that position, and he goes by Earnhardt.
Now, the best thing that could happen to Rusty right now would be for the caution to come out.
Yep.
I'm not sure, Ned. I'm not sure that he doesn't need to run long enough for all these other cars to make a pit
Good
stop.
point. Good point. Yeah, if they had to stop under green, then that would put him back in the lead.
And then the caution flag come out.
Yeah, you're right.
So Rusty Wallace is now just 1 lap down in 28th position. The leader is Dale Earnhardt, followed by Rudd, Stewart, Skinner, and Bobby Labonte.
You know, my first racing days were pretty rough. With my wheels set so close together, I was always getting loose in the turns. Now that I'm trading paint with the big boys, why?
Sign up for MSN Internet Service. Radio Shack.
Whoa!
These guys are going to make a comeback. They better get the bats going soon.
Don't you wish you could scratch and get $1 million? Play Napa's $1 Million Thanks Instant Win game. There are thousands of other prizes, too. Plus, you'll save on hundreds of items. It's our way of thanking you for the last 75 years. Stop by a participating Napa Auto Parts store today.
15 years ago, I gave John his start. I ordered the first Papa John's pizza.
No, it was me.
I said, John, this pizza's got great stuff on it. Join our celebration. Get 2 large one-topping Papa John's pizzas for just $12.99.
Get it straight. It was me. I said this sauce is special.
Me, 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 me.
Hey, wasn't it you that ordered the first pizza?
Well, I am your mom.
Get 2 large one-topping Papa John's pizzas for only $12.99. It's our way of thanking all our loyal customers.
Dale Earnhardt leading the Goody's Body Paint 500 here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia by about 9/10 of a second over Ricky Rudd. There is Rusty Wallace, and this is how much he's been able to pull away from Earnhardt since he passed him and got one of his 2 laps back.
But if Dale Earnhardt were to pit now and change 4 tires, he probably could do almost the same thing to Rusty Wallace. This racetrack, like all others, those fresh tires makes the car so much faster.
Well, there are a lot of cars that are slipping and sliding around out there, Dean. I don't know how far we need to go before they'll be scheduled for a stop, but it shouldn't be too long.
And here's one car that has been sliding in the last few laps. Mark Martin up ahead of Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, we saw Mark up there in 4th place about 30 laps ago, but now he's struggling to hold on to the 8th position.
John Kernan, what's the problem with Mark?
About 15 laps ago, Mark radioed in and told his crew chief, Jimmy Finnegan, the car just would not work in the middle of the turns. It looks like he's moved up a lane in the turns just to see if it'll handle there. But the car has gotten very loose on him, so Mark has a real handful. And also, Dale Jarrett's car doesn't want to work down low in the corners either.
Jarrett taking, however, the 8th position away from Martin.
And here's Jeremy Mayfield, his own pit road. We heard earlier that his car was not working very good, and so he followed as long as he could. Decided to come in and get some new tires and some adjustments on his Ford.
He'll make a chassis adjustment back on the left rear, left front.
Mayfield rolls the Volvo 1 Ford out once again. Jerry, how'd it go down there? John Kernan?
Jeremy Mayfield's car had been very, very loose, but also another problem on it. He told them the brake pedal was stuck halfway down to the floor, so they were concerned that that would activate the pistons and push the brake pads up and hold them up against the rotor and heat things up too much. But that doesn't seem to be the main problem right now. The main problem is just the handling gone completely away on Jeremy Mayfield's car.
I tell you what, it hasn't gone away on that 20 car of Tony Stewart's.
No, he has caught the 2nd and 3rd place car.
Man,
there they are. Just move right up on them.
Not only is this the car that Stewart won the pole here a year ago, but it is the same car in which he won 2 races last year.
So Michael Waltrip is running in the 18th position in the car number 7, about to go a lap down.
And here comes Sterling Marlin. He finally said, I fought this as long as I want to. Let's make a pit stop, make some adjustments, get 4 tires. Jerry?
Fighting a very loose race car. Sterling Marlin brings the car number 40, the Coors machine, to a halt on pit road. He has not won since July of 1996. Some 121 races ago at Daytona. Knows he has a great race car. They make an adjustment to the right rear. They were going to pull a rubber out of the rear. They have yet to do that. Left side tires going on. Second generation driver. Left front lugs are tight. Marlin is down the way.
18.7 second pit stop for Sterling. Here comes Bill Elliott in for a stop. Here's Bill Weber.
And it's been a good run for Bill Elliott to this point. He has one of the tricky pit stalls here on pit road, right at one of the bends along pit road. This will be a 4-tire change in fuel. We've also got the 88 on pit road. He's getting right side tires as well. Now they come around to the left side on the 94, putting on the left sides and fueling it. Elliott waiting. Tires are on, fuel is in. He goes back out on pit road. Left sides are done on the 88. He pulls out of pit stall and begins to charge down pit road. Now the 20 is also on pit road. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Might be the comeback of the day for Ward Burton. Remember that big win at Darlington has pumped this team up. Caterpillar team, if you just joined us, had a stop-and-go penalty for a 2-tire change because the right front tire was not back across the wall. Now, Tommy Baldwin and the Bill Davis crew going to work right side tires, clean the windshield, skirting to the left side. They got a good pit stop going here. Also, the car number 24 is in. Jeff Gordon back to the 22 car. Left side tires on. Ward Burton down and away. He will race Johnny Benson off of pit road.
And we see Jeff Gordon completing his pit stop. Left side is up. And down and away Jeff Gordon goes.
And I wonder if Tony Stewart might have run out of gas. He was really slow coming off of turn 2, but now he's in the pits. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Ned, that's exactly what happened. They'll spray either the starter fluid in. He finally gets the engine re-fired. They had just told him pit the next time by. As he was coming out of turn 2, he said, hey, I'm out of fuel, dead stick. Now the engine died again. They're trying to get it started. It finally fires back up. Uh-oh, they changed on the fire. No traffic adjustments. And the 18, his teammate Bobby Labonte, is on pit road.
And the leader about to come in. First and second about to come into the pits as Bobby Labonte gets his servicing back out. Here comes Earnhardt and Rudd.
And here comes Earnhardt and Rudd and Steve Park. 35 miles an hour again is pit road speed.
No speedometers in these cars. They must do it with a tachometer. Bill Weber, they're coming to you.
Well, the guys that have been running up front now come down pit road 1-2. Earnhardt and the 28 of Ricky Rudd. Earnhardt slides into his stall, so does Rudd. Right side for the 3. It'll be a 4-tire stop for both cars. Earnhardt has not said a thing on the radio. Ricky said his car's been getting better and better throughout the afternoon. Left side's on the 3. They swing around. Left side's on the 28, cleaning the windshield. On the 28. Now the 28's away and the 3. Identical stops, virtually identical on the stopwatch.
They come out the same way they came in. And we have 200 laps to go here. The 31 car of Mike Skinner also works down pit road as Mark Martin gets service on the left side of his Valvoline Ford, and he is on his way again. Down to Jerry as Skinner pits.
Mike Skinner has been cutting the brake coolers on and off and the rear end coolers on and off. He's been very busy in the race car. The crew told him, if you have 9 volts or more on the meter, we will not change the battery on a green flag stop. If you have 9 volts, and Mike said it is barely at 9 volts, so they are not going to change the battery. They need a caution flag not to lose a lap. 4 tires, he's away.
18.3-second stop for the Mike Skinner crew. And guess who's in 3rd place on the lead lap?
Yeah, as soon as those other 2 cars stop, he'll be in 1st place. And there are Michael Waltrip and
how long can he go without a pit stop is the question. The 36 car of Schrader is the leader.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But it would be good, Rusty, as Benny had pointed out, after everybody made their green flag pit stops, if he could get a caution, that's what he would like to have.
I mean, he's only been out there for 50 laps right now, so he can run easily probably another 100 laps. And as good as this car has been, I think his car will, as soon as these other cars get some laps on their tires, and he should be about as good as any of them.
There's the leader, Ken Schrader, who is leading for the first time in the NASCAR Winston Cup 2000 season. Michael Waltrip is second, then Rusty, Earnhardt, and Rudd. Under caution once again here at Martinsville Speedway for the 10th time. Jimmy Spencer spinning out on the racetrack, and now Rusty Wallace is going to make a pit stop.
You know, I'm not sure that he can do this and not get lapped because at 35 miles per hour, Rusty was at the very end of the line. There's a leader. Kenny Schrader said, Bill Weber, he's there in front of you now.
They've talked it over. They are going to try and do 4. The spotter is going to watch the pace car. Rusty definitely wants to get the 4 if they can. Good stop on the right side. The pace car coming out of 4. Now they swing to the left side. Jack underneath. Left front is on. Left rear is on. Tightening the lug nuts. Rusty is away. He'll easily beat the pace car from the outhouse to the penthouse for these guys.
Man, oh man, you're so right, Bill. How the complexion of this race changed so dramatically with just a single caution flag.
Man.
Because 2 cars had not made pit stops. Kenny Schrader and Michael Waltrip had not made pit stops, and Rusty had gotten back on the lead lap, and so it's going to be just 3 cars on the lead lap. Now, some of these that had made pit stops will not stop, so they'll be in front of the other cars, but technically they'll be a lap down.
And this is why the 10th caution is currently waving.
There we see contact between Jimmy Spencer and Tony Stewart, I believe.
Looks like it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Jeff Burton goes by on the outside.
No other car involved, but man, it was close. And a little contact there between Elliott and Martin on the slowdown. The 7 car of Michael Waltrip makes a pit stop. John?
Michael Waltrip stayed out a couple extra laps in order to lead a lap and pick up 5 bonus points. It's a 4-tire change. The only problem with the car is a little bit loose at the end of the run, so they made an air pressure adjustment. It's Jerry Punch.
This caution flag, a big break for Mike Skinner. As the green came back out, the engine began to sputter and miss. He wouldn't have run but a few more laps, so they just came in a moment ago. Changed the battery in the left side. Took him about 35 seconds, but Skinner changed the battery as he will head back onto the racetrack, trying to get his first ever Winston Cup victory. Back with more live coverage from Martinsville in just a moment.
At Martinsville Speedway, Virginia, ESPN's coverage of the Goody's Body Pain 500 being brought to you by Briggs & Stratton, the power that works for you. By Polaris ATVs, if you're going to ride the best, Polaris. And by the Y-Track Pontiac Grand Prix, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. Under our 10th caution here at lap 314, Kenny Schrader is the leader, and Rusty Wallace is second, followed by the 7 car of Michael Waltrip, then Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd. While we remain under caution, we'll sneak in another quick break and be back for green flag racing in a moment. The green flag has just come out here at Martinsville Speedway to resume the Goody's Body Pain 500. We're watching the cars running up front now. The number 3 car of Dale Earnhardt is actually 4th in the running. And a similar situation happened at Texas last week. The leader of the race is back in the middle of the field. There's the leader, Ken Schrader.
Okay. Most everyone had made a pit stop excepting Ken Schrader and Michael Waltrip. Okay, when the caution came out, everybody else was at least 1 lap down, excepting Rusty Wallace. He had gotten back on the lead lap, so now there were 3 cars that were on the lead lap, excepting those that made the pit stop. And when those 3 cars made their pit stop, they had to come out behind those that were technically on the lead lap. So that's what we got going on. We got about 14, 15, 13 cars like that are almost a lap down, but not quite.
And the 16th place car of John Andretti is right ahead of the leader.
Now you see the 2 car to 36. That is a battle for the lead. I know you don't understand that, but that, trust me, is a battle for the lead.
And the car number 43 of John Andretti is fighting for his lap to stay on the lead lap. He was one of those cars, and now he's about to go a lap down.
In 16th position. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Rusty Wallace obviously battling for the lead right now. Before the green flag came back out, Robin Pemberton got on the radio and he said the traffic here is going to be terrible. Please be extra patient. Rusty drove down the front stretch under caution, gave his team a big thumbs up. As they lined up for the restart, someone jumped on Rusty's radio and said, "This is going to be horrendous." Rusty said, "I know." One other note on this team, car owner Roger Penske is here. He got here about an hour before the green flag fell. He flew in from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where the kart race was postponed.
Because of bad weather, including a little snow. Now, here is Rusty right on the back bumper of the 36 car.
And John Andretti is still hanging tough on the outside, trying to stay on the lead lap.
Last driver with back-to-back wins at a short track was Jarrett in '97 at Bristol and in Richmond. Rusty, of course, won at Bristol a few weeks ago. And Kenny Schrader is leading for only the 2nd time in his career at Martinsville in 31 starts. The last time he led here was in September of 1990, almost a decade ago.
Ward Burton has moved up in the NASCAR Winston Cup points to 2nd spot as they run now.
And John Andretti got back on the lead lap. You see, now Rusty passing Schrader on the outside.
Rusty Wallace going for the lead once again. And he's going to get it. Car of Jeff Burton running right there with this group of cars is 17th position a lap down.
And Dale Earnhardt in 4th place is 15 seconds behind Rusty Wallace.
Well, almost a wreck a couple of laps ago. Look at Skinner get loose.
Comes off the corner. I don't think he realizes that Joe Nemechek is there, and when he tries to steer away from Nemechek, almost spun out. Now Rusty drives on the inside of John Andretti.
Once again tries to put him a lap down. The 3rd place car is Michael Waltrip. There he is.
Dusty Earnhardt was 3rd. Yes, he is 4th place car. 15 seconds behind the leader.
Michael Waltrip trying to turn his season around. He's 29th in points. A year ago at this time, he was 10th in the point standings.
You're talking about Earnhardt. He's way out in front. He has clear sailing out in front of him. You'll see how much distance there is. Here we'll see him come off that corner there in a little bit. There he is, 4th place car. DJ not too far behind him. So they're not in danger of going lap down at all now because Rusty back there in that traffic.
Oh, yeah, he's probably better off back where he is now, out of that traffic, than he would be up there racing with Rusty Wallace, because Rusty has his hands full with all those cars trying to stay on the lead lap.
That's Dale Jarrett. He's 4th.
5th.
I'm sorry, 5th. Tony Stewart is 6th.
And John Andretti is still racing hard with Rusty Wallace.
He really is trying to get back on that lead lap. He's one of those that was a victim of circumstances.
It took just 74 laps for Rusty Wallace to get his 2 laps back that he lost when the tire blew.
Now, I'm sure a lot of fans out there remember seeing, I mentioned that Michael Waltrip was running in 19th position and he got lapped. And they say, well, how in the world did he get up there running in 2nd place? Well, he stayed out there and didn't pit. If you pit here at Martinsville on the green flag, you're going to at least 2 laps.
77 of Robert Presley, 19th, a lap down. There is Michael, who started back in 34th position and finds himself up in 3rd. His best finish this year was at the other short track race that we've had at Bristol. He started 23rd and finished 11th. His best finish here in Martinsville came in at this race in 1991. He finished 7th.
See, there are 15 cars on the lead lap, and here's the battle between Mark Martin and Ward Burton.
And for 10th, Ned.
I saw some smoke out of the 6th car, I believe.
I don't know what it should have been. Let's see if it's, I saw it too, but I don't know where it came from.
Looks like maybe the right front. Some pretty good damage to the right front of Mark Martin's car.
6, 22, and 12 are all battling for position. 10th, 11th, and 12th. Down to John Kernan once again.
You brought up the point that Mark Martin, you saw a little puff of smoke. Well, one of the drivers behind him radioed his crew just a few laps ago and said, Mark's blowing out some grease. Mark's blowing out some grease. So we'll have to keep an eye on the 6 cars. So far, been monitoring them on the radio and haven't heard anything as of yet from that team. But it has been reported that there's grease or some kind of fluid coming out of the 6 car.
Brett Bodine in car number 11. Brett is 2 laps down. He is being shown in the 28th position.
You know, as we've watched Rusty Wallace, he has had the dominant car all day. And look at right behind him, John Andretti. Now, it would lead me to believe that John Andretti, that he should drive away from Andretti. I think Rusty Wallace is really, really taking it easy right now. I think he's terrified of what might happen to that right front tire again if he runs that hard. And right now, there's no reason to run hard. He has a 2.5 lead on Kenny Schrader, and he has about a 12-second lead on Dale Earnhardt.
160 laps to go here at the Goody's Body Pain 500. It's Rusty Wallace out front. Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Back with you at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. The 8th NASCAR Winston Cup race of the year 2000 has completed 344 laps so far, with Rusty Wallace leading and the Pennzoil Copter Cam providing the aerial shots. So if we stay green, guys, are they going to need another pit stop?
Yes.
I think they will.
I think it'll be close, but I think they will.
And if that happens, we'll see some guys probably trying to short stop and change 4 tires. And we'll see some guys, we see some contact there between the 60 of Rich Bickle and Elliott in the 94.
Elliott is on the lead lap in 15th spot. Will be the next car to go a lap down if Rusty can get around him.
Rusty has nowhere to go there right now. There's the 60 car of Rich Bickle and Elliott running side by side. A lot of heavy traffic in front of him. Now, we mentioned Dale Earnhardt there a moment ago. He was, over 15 seconds behind, but he's cut that down as a result of Rusty being in that traffic. He's cut it down to, let's see, he comes across the start-finish line now at 12.7. But now Earnhardt is running in on the traffic at the tail end of the pack. For a while, he had just clear sailing up there.
And we're watching the battle for 6th position here as Ricky Rudd and Tony Stewart try to decide who's going to run there. That Home Depot car looks like it's been through a shredder almost.
Yeah, he's not going to win any beauty prizes in this thing, though. He might win the prize, but it will certainly not be a beauty prize.
There is the 88 car of Dale Jarrett, who is running in 5th position. Let's get more on Rudd as we go to the pits and Bill Weber.
Well, Ricky Rudd certainly was optimistic this morning, and his crew chief Michael McSwain said their car was sporty. Now, if you scrape some of the black paint off that car, you might find Tide neon orange underneath. Because when Ricky Rudd had his auction and sold everything from Rudd Performance Motorsports, he didn't sell everything. In fact, he kept that chassis that he's running here today. He ran it in 6 or 8 races late last season, liked it, wanted to take it with him, brought it here to Martinsville. They've been good basically since they got off the truck. By the way, when that car was at Rudd Performance Motorsports, it was chassis number 28. No kidding.
Really? How those guys come up with all that useless information now.
Car race here at Martinsville at Loudon, Richmond, Darlington, Phoenix, and Homestead.
A little contact there between Tony Stewart and the 28 car. Of course, this is nothing unusual for the 20 and the 28 here at Martinsville, is it?
Last year it was a different driver in the 28, though. Irwin was driving it then, and the 20 car, they did have some fun.
Rudd has a good run here. To take over that 6th position, and does. Go under the Texaco Haviland Ford and see how those brakes are glowing.
They appear to me to be getting a little bit brighter, but we have seen those rotors stay red all the way around the racetrack when we've had these chassis cameras on before. It's still hard to believe how much that front tire flexes when he goes down on the corner.
Boy, the technology has improved so much in the braking area. You know, years ago, you couldn't use them a tenth of what they can use them today and expect them to be there at the end, having brakes at the end of the race.
Ricky Rudd, you see, has moved into the 6th position. Once again, that's our Vestas onboard camera, our chassis cam, our brake cam. As you can see, when Rudd applies the brakes, that rotor just turns cherry red immediately. And Kevin LePage is back in the race, the FamilyClick.com.
Yeah, there are only 2 cars that are not on the racetrack. One of them is Mike Bliss. He's shown as off the racetrack, and the 66 car of Darrell Waltrip is shown as out of the race. He will finish in the last position.
Now, there are a number of cars. Kevin LePage is 37, 16 laps down. Kenny Irwin is 34 laps down. Kyle Petty is 57 laps down. If you watch Rusty Wallace, the leader, he's still in traffic. He hasn't gotten around Bill Elliott yet to put him a lap down.
The biggest deficit to make up is Kenny Wallace, who's 204 behind Ned. He's got a way to go. He was involved in our first caution.
Up the third or fourth lap.
Yeah. And 8th and 9th right now being occupied by Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Into this race 12th in the point standings, and that's the lowest in the point standings he's been early in the season since '94. And Jerry, I posed the question a few laps ago. Can they go without making a pit stop if we go green the rest of the way? What's your assessment?
Well, Bob's survey says that if we check the top 4 or 5 cars and look at their fuel mileage calculations, that if we stay green, they will need one more pit stop. But that one pit stop will come with between 20 and 35 laps to go, so it'll be a sprint race after that final stop. If we stay green, one more stop, then we're on lap 360 to 375.
Okay.
And, you know, Ricky Rudd, we've noticed, has that very good race car all day. Watch as he closes in on Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt. He and Earnhardt seem like they run together all day long.
Oh, wow. I wondered how he's going to pull that off. That gets home behind Spencer.
And a spinner.
Spin just ahead of Gordon. That's Bobby Labonte, who was running an 8th spot.
And can he get it cranked up to save a lap? No, he didn't.
Well, that means that they pit now and can go the rest of the way. And it also means that all those cars that were ahead of Rusty Wallace will be able to go around the racetrack and fall in behind him.
That's right, because Dale Earnhardt was 11 seconds behind Rusty, and right now he's going to be about 11 hundredths of a second behind Rusty Wallace. Here comes Rusty already headed towards pit road.
Rusty and Michael Waltrip and Ken Schrader coming in. Here's John Kernan.
Second place car, Michael Waltrip is in. A 4-tire change, also a track bar adjustment. The car had gotten a little bit loose on them. Right sides are already on. They come around to the left side. They goes up 1 pump, 2 pumps, cars in the air. Left side's going on. There go the lug nuts and Phil Weber.
Most of these guys should be able to reach the finish for here. It's 4 tires and fuel for Rusty Wallace. Back to the original air pressure in the left front, and the 2 rear tires up a half pound in all 3. Rusty's away. Has to watch out for the 40. Jerry Punch.
This would be the final stop, as you said, for most of these cars, including Ward Burton, right side tires. Ward saying it's tight in the middle. He is spinning the rear tires coming off. They made a slight air pressure change. Left side tires going to the Caterpillar Pontiac. Now Ward's going to be very careful. The 40 Marlin right in front of him. He squeezes by Sterling Marlin right in front of Jeff Gordon. He's away.
Bobby Hamilton comes out, so does Sterling Marlin. Let's take a look and see what happened to Bobby Labonte, and we'll see if there's some contact between Bobby and Jeff Gordon.
Well, we're going in the third corner. Right there's the contact, and we see the damage on the right front fender of Jeff Gordon's car. And around goes Bobby Labonte, and he's now lapped down.
366 laps complete now. The Goody's Body Pain 500. We're under caution number 11. Back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, and the Goody's Body Pain 500. 369 laps are completed as the pace car pulls off the racetrack. We are set to go back to racing. It's Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd.
And as they get to the inside, Bob, we need to mention the fact that John Andretti did get his lap back on this caution, so now we have 16 cars on the lead lap.
Michael Waltrip runs second. His last top 5 was a little over a year ago at Daytona. His career best short track finish in 107 races, 5th. That was in Bristol in April of '94. And Rusty Wallace is sideways as Jeff Burton gets his lap back.
Yeah, I think they made a little contact there, and that's why Rusty got sideways.
Now Mike Skinner's up there. He's a couple laps down, trying to get a lap back.
Now that puts Jeff Burton back on the lead lap.
Yep.
He is in the 17th position.
And there's Dale Earnhardt trying to get on the inside of Kenny Schrader and take over third spot, and he does.
And does with ease. Schrader's last top 5 was at Richmond in September of '98. He finished 4th.
Ricky Craven is in the pits, a stop-and-go penalty, and we understand that Steve Park might also get one. He's getting the black flag for passing on the wrong side. That would mean passes on the inside. Before you get to the start-finish line on a restart, you got to pass on the outside.
Back from our leader Wallace to second place Waltrip.
Right on his back bumper, Waltrip's back bumper, is Dale Earnhardt. As Steve Park comes down pit road in his Pennzoil Chevrolet to take that penalty. Lost the one here, boy, at Martinsville. That pit road is long.
Mike Skinner, 1 lap down now, 23rd position. There are 17 cars, as you can see on your rundown up in the upper left, on the lead lap. 25 laps to go. Rusty has led 282 circuits so far. There have been 7 leaders and 13 lead changes. The leaders have been Wallace, Earnhardt, Schrader, Skinner, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, and Michael Waltrip for a lap. Average speed 72.752 miles an hour.
Jeff Burton has pulled away from Rusty Wallace and Mike Skinner. So right now, Jeff Burton has a good race car. He's the fastest on the track.
When Rusty Wallace had that flat tire, Ned, something has happened. I don't know exactly what has happened, but there's something happened. It's probably to the brakes. He maybe just taking it easy to the brakes, or maybe they've noticed something that they told him, you need to take it easy with the brakes.
Well, I'm sure one thing would be, don't let that happen again.
Rusty Wallace recorded 4 straight wins here from 93 to 96. Now Earnhardt looking for second.
Now Earnhardt was faster than Rusty before this caution came out, but Rusty was in heavy traffic, so it don't have that much to do with it.
And the Rich Bickle and Robbie Gordon cars have just come together, and that puts Bickle's car down in the grassy area on the left side of the curb.
And he's stuck. And the caution flag is once again out.
And Jeff Burton is going to be able to get that lap back, of course.
Mike Skinner got one of his back.
Yep. Bickle's car is over in turn number 2. There it is, near the exit of pit lane.
And I think with all the rain we had yesterday that it's just so soft there, and he's stuck. Because I did see the car fire.
Here's a replay.
And there's a contact. Oh. Wow. Robbie Gordon, and he goes in, and not a lot of contact with the inside retaining wall. Most of the contact was with Robbie Gordon's car.
Nevertheless, with Bickle's car stuck down there, we do have another caution working for us here at Martinsville. Well, the NASCAR 2000 season rolls on, and here is a NASCAR 2000 moment brought to you by Hasbro Winter Circle, and here's Bill Weber.
Well, Bob, Rusty Wallace has 6 wins here at Martinsville, but he believes a year ago he could have gotten win number 7. He had a dominant car. He led 177 laps in the race here last spring, but on a late race caution, he made a pit stop, and here's what happened. Front tire changer Bill Wilborn, a veteran and one of the best on pit road, went over the wall. And when he took his air gun and pulled the trigger, the air that discharges through this vent right here blew all the black brake dust off the wheel right into his face. Basically, there was a cloud of this black brake dust. It'd be like you or I driving into a big mountain of fog on the highway. He couldn't see a thing. So the precious seconds that he lost waiting for that brake dust to settle, well, Rusty lost several positions on the racetrack. He tried to make up those positions. He ended up burning up his right rear tire. He finished 7th in the car that could have won. That'll never happen again, because here's what Wilborn has done. He's gotten some of this cooking spray, and what they do now is they take this cooking spray and they spray it here on the wheels. You can see they've already done that. So it's coated with this cooking spray, and then they put it on the car. Now the brake dust either slides right off these wheels or it settles on there and does not blow back in his face when he hits the air gun. So it's a simple solution to a complex problem, and they're hoping it's a solution that could send the 2-car to victory lane today.
And if you were watching NASCAR Today, which Bill Weber hosted earlier today, you heard Benny Parsons mention that very problem.
And those guys obviously realized it was a problem and did something about it. Man, they're smart down there.
They're the top 15 of the race, which is 384 laps old. 17 cars are on the lead lap. Last week's winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr., back in 28th. Darrell Waltrip is out of the race. Just a little more than 100 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway. There's the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace. About a 1 1/4 second lead over Dale Earnhardt. As usual, the restart was exciting. Watch the 18 and the 7.
Michael
and
Walker
Ricky Rudd.
Second spot.
Well, but we got one for sure here on the front stretch as Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd got together coming off of turn 4 when he bottled up in front of them.
Brett Bodine is involved.
And we see Rudd after all that great run he's had there. Now he's going a lap down.
Oh, and Bobby Labonte did get his lap back, but boy, did he take a chance.
He almost hit the back of Brett Bodine big time. Rudd has yet to get turned around and headed in the right direction. Now he does. So Rudd's good run suffers a major setback.
Oh, man, his car suffers a major setback as well. That car really, I don't think, had a scratch on it before this deal. Let's see if we can see what happened. Ned, did you see it?
I was looking at it. There were a lot of cars that were jumbled up together up there, and the brakes put on by some, and I think Ricky had to back off, and DJ was right on his back bumper there, so I don't know. Don't know which came first.
And we see the
Here,
32.
All right, look at it this way.
All right.
Okay, Ricky hits the 10 car, then DJ just barely hits the 28 and comes to a stop, knocks him back the other way. And
watch the 32 car, the tied car. Now, he hits the right front. He does all the damage to the right front of Rudd's car. That's his onboard camera. Oh, that's a sick feeling.
Especially after you've had such a good run here today. Let's watch Bobby Labonte and what he does to get his lap back. Look how close he comes there to Brett Bodine.
Never see Spencer driving away and almost made contact, might have made contact, and then with Brett Bodine. He dodged 2 bullets.
And the damage at the front of the 28 car is major, and they try to get the sheet metal straightened out as the 18 car of Bobby Labonte. Now that he's back on the lead lap, will make a pit stop, get fresh tires, and make a run for it. There are the top 5. The Indians and the Devil Rays tonight. Well, let's get out of Bill Weber as we get set to go back to green soon.
Well, Ricky Rudd's back out on the track now. He's been in the pits 3 times. The damage is much more significant than they'd originally hoped. In fact, they just wanted to hopefully tear away some sheet metal and put 4 tires on it and send it back out. But he's already lost at least 3 laps. The right front of it very torn up. He's complaining about the handling of the race car. We said this was one of his favorite cars. Keyword there now being was. He may stop back in here if he gets a chance, but he's not very happy with the car. And I will tell you race fans one thing, a little behind the scenes. This team did think this car and this driver could win here today. They're still posturing themselves, saying we're getting closer, but they were hoping this was going to be the race that would take them back to the mountaintop. This is a big setback for them, but they'll hopefully bounce back next week with that Yates power at Talladega. Rudd heading back down pit road again for more repairs.
Yeah, I think in your NASCAR today we had a interview, and he said the team is on the verge. Now here is Rudd's spin.
Yeah, the car's jammed up in front of Johnny Benson, and then Rudd got into the 10 car of Johnny Benson, and then DJ got into Rudd just a little bit back there, and right there is where the damage was done, as you pointed out earlier, when Scott Pruitt hit the 28 car.
He has gone 3 laps down, back in 26th position. And he was running in 5th. Here it is from DJ's on board. That has brought out our 13th caution of the afternoon, the record for this spring race here at Martinsville, 14 back in 1998. Just gone back to green, and Michael Waltrip had a bad restart. Now gets it going, but he jammed up things considerably, may have gotten hit in the process. Rusty Wallace comes down and leads the 402nd lap. But now look how close Earnhardt is as he closes in. Restart again. We'll see what happened to Michael.
We see him back in about the 4th car on the outside, and he hits the gas and it just doesn't go. It's like a vapor lock or something.
He was hit by Jeremy Mayfield pretty substantially in the rear of the end of the car.
He's dropped back to 9th right now.
3rd place car is Ken Schrader, but there are a few cars between 2nd and 3rd. There's Michael.
It's a battle for the 9th position. And Gordon's on the inside, trying to take it away. The trouble is, once these cars get on the inside, here comes Bobby Hamilton. He's going to try to follow Jeff Gordon.
More from John Kernan on Michael Waltrip.
On that restart, when Michael Waltrip went to shift to 3rd gear, it wasn't there. He lost 3rd gear, so he had to go immediately to 4th, so that's why he had such a poor restart. No 3rd gear.
Michael having a good day, though, although he's losing spots here that are that's going to drop him out of the top 10.
Ooh, he's still having trouble getting off of turn 4. He's driving his heart out and putting that accelerator down as deep as he can every time that he can.
On board with Sterling Marlin, who's 12th. Schrader and Mayfield are contesting the 3rd position.
And I believe we're going to be able to say, give that race to...
Yes.
Not so quick. So quick. I start to say Jeremy Mayfield, but I don't know. But here comes Tony Stewart right behind these two.
Another good day for the Roger Penske team. They're running 1st and 3rd. From Schrader. Now here comes Stewart and Mark Martin. We'll jump on board with Mark.
At one time
to spin over in turn 2.
Lots of cars had to stop, not so many involved.
Robbie Gordon and Dave Blaney, and Rusty Wallace gets through it.
Johnny Benson racing hard to get the lap back. Let's see, he almost ran over Dale Earnhardt going into the turn, but he's not going to beat Rusty back to start-finish time.
Well, this is our record-tying number of cautions, 14. There were 14 in this race in 1998. Now we look to the overall track record, which is 17 set during the 2nd race of the year in 98.
Now they got to make some real quick decisions. Right now, the crew chiefs, the drivers, are we going to pit? Are we going to stay out? Do we give up this track position? What do you think? We'll stay out.
Yep.
Let's see if we can tell what might have happened to Robbie Gordon.
Mark Martin came into pits as we watched what happened here.
We see when Robbie Gordon gets tagged from behind, he just nails that gas and puts up a smoke screen that's unbelievable. He hides in that smoke screen.
Gordon operating with a new crew chief this week here at Martinsville. Jerry Baxter has taken over duties from Fred Graves.
And he did not hit the outside retaining wall. Close. All right, Mike Bliss survived with an onboard camera. stops. Okay, let's see.
As you indicated, Ned, we did have or do have a few cars that are making pit stops, those running toward the back of the lead lap.
Excepting Mark Martin. He was running up towards the front, and he did make a pit stop. Michael Waltrip did, and so did John Andretti. And Waltrip was going backwards, so that was a good move by him. Andretti was already near the back of the lead pack, so good move.
Mark Martin was running 6th before he came in for the pit stop, and we'll drop him back to the 14th or 15th position. There's the 14th caution of the day here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We're back to racing here at Martinsville, and the battle right now best on the racetracks for second spot, Dale Earnhardt and Jeremy Mayfield. Also some good racing going on back here between the 36 and the 24 spot, which Tony Stewart gets from Kenny Schrader.
Ward Burton now coming inside of Mike Skinner. He's trying to move up through there.
Skinner again is still 2 laps down in 22nd spot. Ward is 7.
Bob, we mentioned the fans of Mike Skinner say, well, you said he got one of his laps back. Well, he did, but then he lost it back in the pits. He was so far back that when he came into the pits, he was back of the line and didn't quite beat the pace car out, so he lost that lap back.
Watching Dale Jarrett now running alongside Mike Skinner from the Pennzoil Copter Cam.
And Jeff Gordon comes in there as well.
And Jeremy Mayfield trying to take second spot from Earnhardt.
He has a fast race car right now. Jeremy Mayfield does that.
One car between the leader Wallace and second place Earnhardt. That would be Johnny Benson. 20th spot.
Ward Burton really working on Ken Schrader back behind this battle. That was the second, and that battle was 5th back behind him. As Mayfield gets a little squirrely off the corner. Here that battle is. Ward gets up beside of Schrader.
Burton had his best career short track finish at Bristol earlier this year, finished in 3rd spot, and right now he takes 5th from Schrader. And now perhaps the door opens for Dale Jarrett.
And Schrader chose to stay on the high side going into turn 3, and it did open the door for DJ to move down on the inside. Now whether he can make the pass or not, we'll see, but it looks like he might be able to.
As you can see, Jeff Gordon is right there to try to take advantage of that door being open. This is a battle for the 7th position to Jeff Gordon.
When this race is over, you can boot up your computer and go to the NASCAR website, www.nascar.com, and get all the statistics you need regarding this race. And you can also, as we get toward Talladega, take advantage of another feature of the NASCAR online site, the Garage Cam. You can look at everything that's going on in the garage area, eavesdrop.
I wonder if we can take these cars into the Ford dealers tomorrow and get a set of brakes for $89.95, front or rear.
Well, Rusty may need to do something about that, right, Bill?
Well, they could, Bob. You know, we talked about all the success Rusty's had here with his 6 victories, and then we talked about some of the disappointment, that brake dust incident. And remember, in the fall race here in 1977, or 1997 rather, Rusty was black flagged as the leader for jumping the restart. Well, Benny, about 45 laps ago, you speculated that he looked a little more tentative in traffic, that he might be having a braking problem. Well, I followed up on that, and here's what's going on. Front tire changer Bill Wilburn, after the last caution flag stop, told Rusty, be careful because your right front rotor is badly chewed up. Now, I talked to Billy about that rotor. I said, is it the worst you've ever seen? He says, on a good car, it's the worst he's ever seen. They've had bad handling cars. We've had to use the brakes, but on a good car where you have to use them less, this is the worst he's ever seen. So with 70 laps to go, it's something for Rusty and everybody else to think about.
Yes, indeed. This race is far from over. We're looking at the speeds. Last lap, it was Dale Jarrett with the fastest lap. And now we go clear down to Mark Martin.
Well, that really shouldn't be a surprise because Mark Martin stopped on this last caution flag, or one of these last couple of caution flags, and changed tires. He's been in the pits and has fresher tires than Rusty Wallace or Dale Earnhardt or Tony Stewart.
There's Martin back in the 10th position. The 43 car of John Andretti had the fastest lap last time. And of course, this depends greatly upon where the car is in terms of traffic.
And the kind of traction to get off the corner when you mash that gas.
Here's a battle for 14th position between John Andretti and Michael Waltrip.
Now, both of those drivers stopped during the last caution, as did Mark Martin, and put fresh tires on their cars. They're running about 10 seconds behind the leader.
And the interval between first and second a lap ago was 1.7 seconds, and now it's up to almost 1.9, and Jerry Nadeau is in the wall. Is this going to bring out a caution?
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on, Jerry, come on. Come on around, come on around.
Expect we'll see pit stops now. We'll see.
So we are setting a record for the spring race here at Martinsville in terms of cautions. We slow down for the 15th time today. The pace car has picked up the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace, and now we're going to see what the decision is regarding stopping.
It looks like Rusty's coming.
Yep. Well, Mark Martin might not, because he stopped during that last one. Mark Martin did not stop.
So some good track position for Mark as the others come down at 35 miles an hour. We go to John Kernan.
Jeremy Mayfield likes the way the car feels, so they're just going to change 4 tires. No fuel at all. Mayfield running in the 3rd position. Wants to get up and challenge his teammate Rusty Wallace for the win. Dale Jarrett took 2 tires. He's already gone to Bill Weber.
They topped off the tank on a 2-car. Rusty is getting 4 tires. Several guys just took 2. They're going to be Rusty out of the pits. This is what they were concerned about during the last caution, that some guys stopped and some guys were going to take 2 if there was another caution. Earnhardt's been on pit road. He left as well.
And it's going to put Rusty back in about 6th position and Earnhardt 7th, the leader of the race. Well, the first off pit road, I should say, is going to be Dale Jarrett among those who did pit, but several did not. All right, back with more live coverage in a moment from Martinsville. About a lap away from the green flag, a Coke pit summary shows you that Rusty Wallace came in the lead and out 11th. Now, 5 cars did not make pit stops. They had pitted earlier, so you combine that with the fact that Rusty took 4 tires and lost some track position, drops him 10 positions. Earnhardt lost also 10 positions. Mayfield from 3rd to 10th, Stewart from 4th to 13th, and Ward Burton dropped from 5th to 16th. And Jerry has more on Ward Burton.
As you said, Bob, he came in 5th and now back in the 16th spot. The car rolled off the jack. They had a great pit stop going to change 2 right side tires, came to the left side, and the car rolled forward, twisted off the jack. That cost them an extra about 6 or 7 seconds. By the time they got the car jacked back up and got tires on it, he's at the very back of the lead lap. Tough break. He loses 9 spots on that pit stop.
And you can see the damage where he rolled off the jack right between the 2 and the 2. The damage to the doors where it rolled off. John Kernan.
Mark Martin decided to stay out this time to get the track position. It was the right call for them because right now they're up front with, I believe, 4 or 5 cars behind them that have about the equal amount of laps on their tires. Martin decided that the last time they pitted, they took on 4 tires and made a chassis adjustment to loosen the car up just a little bit. Here's Bill Weber.
To
during the previous caution, Rusty Wallace was very concerned when he saw those guys come in and get 4 tires when most of the leaders stayed out. He said, you guys have to watch them. These tires are much different, the 4 new ones as opposed to 4 old ones. When the caution came out this time, he was the guy that jumped on the radio and said, we're getting 4. We'll see if that decision pays off in about 59 laps.
Well, they've waved off the green. We'll go one more now before we get the green flag. The 5 cars that did not pit are Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott. Those are the top 5, and then Dale Jarrett, who was the first off pit road. On ESPN tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, you can see the Napa 250 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from here at Martinsville, the event that was rained out yesterday. Dr. Jerry Punch and Benny Parsons will be in the booth. And Jerry has a report now on Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton stayed out because when the caution came out on lap 382, he pitted and came in, took right side tires, came back in on lap 383, took left side tires. He has tires that were about 30 laps fresher than anyone else on the racetrack on that pit stop. That's why he stayed out, and now it just may pay off for him.
And guys, it's going to be a real test here for Rusty Wallace, who has again been the dominant car. He is back in the 10th position now, and it's going to be a test of the car, Benny, and perhaps more importantly, the brakes.
The brakes. And Jeremy Mayfield, his teammate, got out in front of Rusty Wallace, and I'm not sure he can pass Jeremy. These cars are very, very equal.
Yeah, Jeremy was fast before the caution, and he made a great pit stop, took on 4 tires. So he got out first of those that took on 4. So we'll see how all this plays out. A lot of heavy traffic.
Mark Martin is leading for the first time here this afternoon. He's led 8 laps to this point.
I don't know that they can get back through all this traffic to get in front. Jeremy or Rusty or any of these guys.
No, they're not only having to battle the cars that are on the lead lap, but they're having to battle these lap cars as well. And that is holding them up big time.
As a matter of fact, Johnny Benson goes by Jeff Burton. Benson is a lap down, but a couple laps down. Trying his best. He feels like he's faster than Burton. Went by him.
This is the battle for second between Jeff Burton and John Andretti. John Andretti driving for Petty Enterprises, and again we mourn the death of Lee Petty, the patriarch of the Petty family, who died this past week. Services were held on Friday.
What an unbelievable guy Lee Petty was.
He was a great racer and just a fine individual. I've said all week long since he passed away that he set the standard for families in this sport. It really does.
Andretti is the defending champion of the race. Started second and won last year.
And we see Jeremy Mayfield getting under the 4 car, takes over that 8th position from Bobby Hamilton. But it took him 6 laps to pass that 1 car.
It's Jeremy that's moving up faster now than Rusty. Jarrett and Elliott running 5th and 6th.
Michael Waltrip there in front of Bill Elliott, still hanging on to that 4th position.
And a good run today from Michael Waltrip. Good to see that.
He was defeated on that last caution, and that allowed him to stay out on this one and gave him some track position.
When Rusty Wallace was leading the race, we were thinking about the possibility of our first repeat winner for the year 2000. But now with Mark Martin up front, we think about the possibility of continuing this streak of different winners to start the season.
And 88 trying to look on the outside of Bill Elliott. And it looked like that Elliott just felled him out there and
either felled him or the spotter finally got through to him. Most of the time the spotters will tell him that he was busy trying to get by Michael Waltrip and didn't expect anybody to pull up on the outside of him, I think. So far, DJ hasn't been able to make that outside work. He comes up there once again. Goes in a little bit deeper than Bill, but he's not getting off the corner. And Bill's hanging on down there on that inside. Meanwhile, Jeremy Mayfield is caught up to Jeff Gordon and is running right behind him there.
And we see that Jeff Gordon now is going to try to go on the inside of DJ since he's having trouble passing Elliott. And looks like DJ trying to, he was the aggressor, now he needs to be a little defensive. Well, this is almost like Talladega, Ned. When these two cars get side by side, they just slow down.
Yep.
The Die Hard 500 from Talladega next Sunday on ABC as we continue to cover the Winston Cup Series in the year 2000, NASCAR's longest and fastest racetrack. Restrictor plates are a little smaller, though, for next week, aren't they?
Yeah, they slowed them down. They took about 20 horsepower away from the cars, but they did allow the teams to work on the springs and shock absorbers. So I think the speed will probably be about the same thing.
Well, they continue to run side by side, lap after lap, Gordon and Jarrett.
And Mayfield there, he don't know which one to follow. He decided he's going to go with Jarrett. He thinks that he might be able to pull that outside deal off. I don't know. And there comes Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car. He's coming into it. Bill Elliott's pulled away from him since they've been running side by side here.
And finally Jeff Gordon just kind of moves up the racetrack and takes that spot away.
Yeah, here comes Mayfield.
DJ's got his hand full there now, Ned.
He really does have. Mayfield has 4 tires, 4 fresh tires. And then Bobby Hamilton, he's going to jump right in there, too, if he can.
Right behind Hamilton is Wallace. But the lead is being held by Mark Martin. He's about 1.1 seconds ahead of Jeff Burton. In 3rd place is John Andretti, then Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott. 7 different winners in the first 7 events, the NASCAR Winston Cup season the year 2000. Dale Jarrett, of course, began the season with a win at the Daytona 500. And most recently to visit Victory Lane just last weekend was rookie Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his 12th start. Right now, Mark Martin, who has not won this year, is up front, but we have another caution, and Rusty Wallace takes advantage with a pit stop. Bill.
Well, he came in and got 4 tires, no adjustments. They had no choice. This car that's been so good all day was just no good on that set of tires. So they came in and they gave Rusty 4 tires. He'll go to the back and try and work his way up. 467 laps on the board. It's going to be a tough battle. Several other cars have been on pit road, including Ward Burton.
And Kenny Schrader among those on the lead lap. This most recent caution, which was the 16th, was because of a spin involving Steve Park, and here it is.
And we see him going in the corner. The yellow car, some contact with Sterling Marlin, and around goes Park.
Park shown back in 24th position, 3 laps down. Now watch this terrific move to get the car in the right direction. Fires the car and
wow. Well, if Steve Parks win a race, he'll know how to do those donuts in front of the start finish line on him.
Okay, we're getting the signal. 1 more lap to go, and we'll go back to green.
Martin, Burton, Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott are your top 5, and 468 laps are completed.
Johnny Benson had passed Mark Martin not too long before this caution came out, so he got 1 of his laps back. He was 2 laps down. He's still 1 lap down.
About 80,000 people on their feet here in Martinsville as they cheer the green flag and the resumption of the Goody's Body Paint 500 on lap 470.
Mike Skinner, the Lowe's car on the inside, the blue and yellow car 2 laps down. Trying to get one of them back, racing the leader, Mark Martin.
Mark won't fight him too hard. Says, okay, if you're going to pass me, go on now and get out of the way. Let me do my thing here on the line that I want to run.
Valvoline pays the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America for every lap that Mark Martin leads. They pay $20. If Mark should win, they'll write a check for $5,000 to that organization, which has benefited to the tune of $276,683 so far this year.
That's a nice gesture on their part. Very good call.
That was really good strategy on Mark Martin's behalf when he let Skinner get by him. We can see he's starting to pull away just a little bit from Jeff Burton. And if he and Skinner had raced along side by side, like we saw Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon do a little bit ago.
And if we pan that camera back there, we'll see that same scene again. There it is.
Yep. Side by side again.
Once again, Gordon goes in there and goes up the hill, does a slide jump on Jarrett.
They came up on the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I'm not giving up this position.
The most recent winner of the series last week at Texas, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 laps down here this afternoon in 25th position. 17 of Matt Kenseth. Where? I can't find him on the score.
Oh, he's way down here. Is he out?
Oh, yeah.
He must be out off the track. I didn't notice that he was out because he was running in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., so now Jr.'s the top rookie.
You know, we talked a few minutes ago about how Matt was the...
He's still out there. Remember, he doesn't have a scoring monitor.
That's right. Yep.
So they're having to score his car manually, so we really don't know where he's running.
That's not a good reflection of where he is, really.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Well, Benny's on top.
I'm telling you. Well, Rusty Wallace, with the new tires, is beginning to move through the traffic once again. He's up to a battle with Tony Stewart for 11th spot. And that's Bobby Hamilton up there in 10th in the 4 car.
And Chad Little is laps down to the 4 car, but, oh, and now we see Rusty getting back of the 97.
But he made it through, it looked like.
And Hamilton spins.
Hamilton got the worst end of that deal.
And if all these cars move, there's not a caution flag.
And Mike Skinner still didn't get his lap back.
And there's no caution flag with just 22 laps to go.
Yeah. Well, now Skinner has to get ahead of Martin again.
Certainly. Mark Martin did not run into a caution. When they said, no caution, go ahead and say, man, am I bad.
See, I think that Mike Skinner was holding up Mark Martin, and I think that he realized that, and he just moved over and let Mark go, because after all, this is the guy that has a chance of winning the race, and Mike Skinner is still, if he gets a lap back, he's still a lap down with just 20 laps to go.
Advantage now 1 second over Jeff Burton. Let's take a look at that most recent incident again, which did not bring out a caution.
There to see Rusty going in the corner. You know, I said he got in the back of the 97 car. I don't know if that was the case or not. Rusty and both Bobby Labonte was able to get through. The big loser in that, yeah. Okay, I take that back. He did get in the back of the 97.
The 97 got into the 4.
The 8 and the 40 make contact. Good shot from the Pennzoil copter can. Here's the onboard with Rusty and another spin down in 2.
Sterling Marlin is off the racetrack, is on the racetrack, spun around. Now he gets going, so no caution. Yeah, even though the leaders just came up on him, so they get going, no caution.
NASCAR kind of reluctant to throw the caution here in the last 20 laps of this race. We're down to 19 to go.
And we see Jeff Burton up in 2nd spot. And the 4 car, Bobby Hamilton, going a lap down.
In 16th.
Boy, Jeff Burton is making a run for it as hard as he can right now, trying to catch Mark Martin. He's a 2.25 seconds behind.
getting off the turn mark is, I've been watching the last few laps, and he just doesn't seem to get that traction. Starting Marlin coming down pit road, we'll see what happened to him out on the racetrack.
This is over in turn 2.
Well, hard to say. Let's see if we can tell. Goes down the corner. I guess, remember a few laps ago when the 1 and the 40 car spun? The 1 car spun. This time, the 40 car spun, Jerry.
Benny, I think what you're implying is that they may have a little disagreement going on. Exactly that's what happened, because a minute ago the crew went down to the 1 pit, started pointing fingers down at the Penco crew, so there is some finger pointing right now. There's tire changing going on. Clearly gets 4 freshmen. He's away.
Some close racing right here. Bill Elliott hanging on to that 5th position, but there's Gordon, Jarrett, Earnhardt.
And we've got another crash between Bobby Hamilton and Rusty Wallace.
And this does bring out a caution. Bobby Hamilton trying to find a place to go up the racetrack and get headed in the right direction. There he finally does, but with just 12 laps to go. The 17th caution, record tying here at Martinsville, is out. There are less than 10 laps to go here at Martinsville, and so when the lineup is given, we will have a single file restart. Here's the reason for the most recent caution. Rusty Wallace on board with him.
Goes down the corner on the outside of Bobby Hamilton, and right there is the contact between Hamilton and Rusty. And Rusty just hits the wall with the right front fender enough that he's knocked the fender in on the tire, and he's been in a couple of times trying to get that metal off the tire. Jerry?
Well, Rusty's been on pit road 2 different times. Robin Pemberton calling him in because spotters said they had the right front tire rubbing. They just came in a moment ago and rolled it with the ball back to roll the fender off. The 4 car, Bobby Hamilton, coming back down pit road, but Rusty has been on and off twice. And Rusty said now it doesn't seem to be rubbing, so hopefully he'll be able to make it these final 8 laps.
Now then, we see Rusty going by on the outside of these lap cars.
And we're not going to give green this time by.
So we'll take another break. Be back for the finish of the Goody's Body Paint 500. Just as you rejoin us, the green flag comes out for the final 7 laps of the race.
And boy, did we have some scrambling right there.
And John Andretti goes around. Some contact with Michael Andretti.
Stay high. They're all straight down. Won't be no yellow.
With who? You said Michael Andretti. Michael Waltrip?
Michael Waltrip and John Andretti. I got the Andrettis and Michaels. It was Michael Waltrip and John Andretti, I believe. And we see Bill Elliott trying to get on the inside of Tony Stewart and Jeremy Mayfield on the outside of Earnhardt.
This is the battle for 8.
Jeremy has the fresher tires. And Bill Elliott was a big loser in that. Dale Jarrett was a big winner. He went up to 5th. Jeff Gordon went to 4th. So they both were big winners on that one.
Here comes Rusty.
Jeremy there. Rusty's back there. He just passed Bobby Labonte and moved into the 11th position.
Coming up on 3 laps to go. This will complete lap 497.
And here goes Earnhardt back on the inside of Jeremy. He's trying to go on the outside of Elliott.
Bill Elliott running in 7th spot now. There is Mark Martin with a 3/4 of a second lead over Jeff Burton.
Jeff Gordon trying to get his first top 5 in a long, long time, trying to take away 3rd from Michael Waltrip.
It's been 13 races since Jeff has had a top 5 finish. He's right now in the 4th spot.
He can hang on and get that top 5, but he wants to move up if he can.
White flag is out. 1 more lap to go for Mark Martin. Trying to set a record here and become the 8th different winner in 8 races to begin the 2000 season. He's less than a half a lap away from victory.
No contest. Nobody close to him. Here he comes.
Mark Martin wins the Goody's Body Paint 500 at Martinsville. Jeff Burton second, followed by Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Jarrett. As the rest of the field comes down, Tony Stewart 6th, Mayfield, Elliott, Earnhardt, and Wallace complete the top 10. So indeed, Mark Martin, his first win since Dover in September of 1990, 15 races ago, the 8th different winner in 2000. ESPN's coverage of the Goody's Body Pain 500 from Martinsville Speedway being brought to you by Ford Motor Company, Better Ideas, by Big Kmart, changing for the better, and by Nations Rent. For construction rental equipment, call 1-800-NO-SWEAT. Coming up next here on ESPN, Davis Cup 2000 single quarterfinal round match between Agassi and Novak. Mark Martin does set the record, becoming the 8th different winner this year, his first victory since last year at Dover. Let's go down to our McDonald's Winner's Circle interview and Jerry Punch.
Let the celebration continue here as Mark Martin is slinging Gatorade over everybody. 41-year-old Mark Martin's first victory in 7 months. And Mark, what a great effort. Incredible run. 2 tire stops, pit strategy, pitting out of sequence, and a lot of patience on the racetrack. Congratulations.
Jimmy Finnig won this race. I got to thank Frank Stoddard and Jeff Burton. We were junk all weekend, and after practice was over, we just went to them on our knees and asked them what they had, and we put it in there. Jimmy Finnig won this race. The setup that they gave us made the difference, and of course, this being such an odd racetrack, you know, we got away with the right pit strategy to put us in the front. We didn't have the fastest car, but I was running like a dog when I got that lead.
And he got that win here in the 45th running of the Goody's Body Pain 500. Bob Jenkins, a new NASCAR record, 8 different faces in 8 different races.
And you wonder when this streak is going to end, because a lot of good drivers who won last year have yet to visit victory lane in the year 2000. Here are the unofficial results with 14 cars finishing on the lead lap. We'd like to remind you that we'll be back next week with coverage from Talladega, the Die Hard 500 on ABC next Sunday. Join us at 4 o'clock Eastern Time this coming Friday for the all-important qualifying first round. Now take a look at the points as we head to the next event. Only a 36-point margin now between Bobby Labonte and Mark Martin. Jeff Burton moved up 2 in the point standings. Jarrett up 1. Mayfield and Stewart also gained 1 position in the point standings. Thanks for joining us here at Martinsville this afternoon. Mark Martin wins at Martinsville. Coming up next, tennis. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of Go Network, go.com.